Come here, buddy. This man Hookie from school today. He said he's sick, but he's running around.
No.
You know what I'm saying? You start working on your autograph yet? Yeah, see, when I was his age, because you have that belief and that trust that you're going to be something one day and you want to start working on it. Let me see your autograph, man.
It's horrible.
I know, let me see it, though. Let me see yours. Go. That's ugly.
I know, I told you.
I mean, your autograph, don't sign mine. Let me see yours.
That is mine.
Shedeur knows, Shallow knows to write mine really good. Yeah. That's not bad.
No, that's not bad.
Tell them what you do with my card that you guys found. Look at the camera and tell them what you do with my cards.
We sometimes sell his cards.
Yeah. They don't sign my signature. They don't forge them. But
Right.
they go sell them at school. How much you sell daddy cards for? And it's embarrassing.
Probably like 10 or 5. It depends.
Depends on what.
It depends what year he played in.
Right.
That sounds like smart business to me.
Real hustlers, man.
Now, what is your name, young man?
Shedeur Sanders.
Shedeur Sanders. We'll keep working on that autograph. You have the best teacher possible.
Revelation 14 verse 1. And I looked, and, lo, a Lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written in their foreheads.
Luke 17 verses 20 to 21. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees, when the kingdom of God should come, he answered them and said, The kingdom of God cometh not with observation. 21 Neither shall they say, Lo here, or Lo there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. Revelation 7. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. The number 144 represents spiritual concepts like divine perfection, completeness, and a higher purpose, appearing in the Bible as 144,000 sealed servants of God, and in spiritual traditions as a call to follow one's path, trust guidance, and embrace truth. Mathematically, it is a perfect square, 12 by 12, and in certain numerological contexts, its digits, 1 plus 4 plus 4 is equal to 9, relate to higher mental or spiritual intelligence. In religious and spiritual contexts. Biblical significance. In the book of Revelation, the number 144,000 is a prominent symbolic figure representing the redeemed who stand with God. This is derived from 12 tribes of Israel x 12,000 from each, signifying completeness and divine purpose. Angel numbers. As an angel number, 144 is interpreted as a message to trust your spiritual path, stay true to your values, and have faith in divine guidance during times of uncertainty. Spiritual awakening. Seeing 144 is sometimes seen as a call to take on a soul mission as a healer or leader, activating one's true abilities to spread positivity and support others. In numerology and mathematics. Mathematical property. 144 is a mathematical square, the result of 12 multiplied by itself, 12 by 12. This mathematical relationship is often seen as significant in spiritual numerology, particularly its connection to the number 12. Sum of digits. Some interpret the number's spiritual meaning through the sum of its digits. 1 plus 4 is equal to 9, which can represent the human mind or higher spiritual wisdom in some contexts. Cultural and symbolic associations. The New Jerusalem. In some interpretations, 144,000 is linked to the dimensions of the New Jerusalem mentioned in the book of Revelation. Higher consciousness. The number is sometimes associated with the higher mind or divine mind, in contrast to the lower or carnal mind. The meaning of the 144. Angel numbers are divine messages guiding us on our life's journey, with 144 being significant for spiritual awakening and manifestation. Repeatedly seeing 144 indicates guardian angels trying to communicate and provide guidance for love, relationships, career, and positive life changes. Embrace spiritual practices, trust in the universe's guidance, deepen relationships, and manifest desires for a fulfilling and abundant life. The phenomenon of angel numbers has fascinated people for centuries. It is believed that these numbers are divine messages sent from the spiritual realm to guide us on our life's journey. One such angel number that holds great significance is the number 144. If you have been repeatedly seeing this number, it is a clear sign that your guardian angels are trying to communicate with you and provide guidance.
Shedeur, you mentioned your spiritual growth when you first started. What made that happen now?
Well, I wouldn't say now. I always know when God's talking to me. Like last night, if any of y'all see, I tweeted something, cause you know, when you sleep, you're most vulnerable. So then that's when I got like real bad. You know, God talked to me in that time. So, and I'm able to recognize that because before Pro Day it was the same thing. So that's how I know I'm on track. You know, that's how I know I'm living in my purpose, and I understand everything happened for a reason. So I just got a message like that night, and I had to sleep with my flashlight on last night. I slept with my flashlight on last night because I was too scared.
This is sick work, bro.
And I'm still here.
My name is Carl.
I'm telling you now, man. I'm telling you now, Cleveland don't get me right here because this is sick, bro. Hey, this is rigged. But don't get me right here, it's rigged, bro. Then the draft room?
He was still there?
At the same time, stay away from that. That's the last one. He's trying to figure this out. It's not over. Okay?
Alright.
No, just stay inside and I'll be back.
Hey, you heard what they said, Boogie? She said Cleveland. She said, this the last player on Cleveland board that they finna get, then they're gonna try to trade it back into the fifth. No, back into the fourth.
It makes perfect damn sense if he's drafted in the second round. It's the fact that he fell to fifth that's alarming. So in other words, you're willing to collectively send that kind of message, and don't act like it wasn't a collective effort. For all we know, teams collectively, meaning owners, had come to the conclusion nobody's going to touch them in the first 4 rounds. All right, now that the round 5 is here, our message has been sent, so y'all could go about the business of sort of lifting the embargo, for lack of a better phraseology. I'll tell you how. It's collusion.
And I'll tell you this much too, what I heard from someone that's in the NFL, that the NFL told other, don't draft him, do not draft him. We're gonna make an example out of him. And this came from a very good source, And he said that, I won't say who, somebody called the Cleveland Browns and said, don't do that. Draft
really?
him. Yep, draft him. Don't do that. Because they weren't going to draft him either. They weren't going to draft him. They were forced into drafting him because somebody made a call to them, said, you know. And I said, when I say this is a NFL side source for sure, you know. So this is not here. So look, one thing about it is, and I'll just say it, you know, they don't like when guys have brands, especially black players. You know, and that's mostly us with the brand. You know, some guys are flashy and all that kind of stuff. They don't like that. This kid, Fred, I don't think you knew this. He had already made $17 million from a car deal that he already signed. A car deal. He had $17 million already for that. He had another 14, I think, from a was it Nike or some shoe deal. So he was good with money wise, but I know he wants to play in the National Football League for sure.
So how does he do that? I mean, Cleveland picked him. I find it fascinating, Eric. You're saying somebody even called the Browns and said, don't do that.
Yeah, somebody called the Browns and said.
So what was the objective? He doesn't get picked? He's an undrafted free agent?
That's exactly what's going to happen. They were going to have him, he was not going to get drafted, to basically show you this is what happens when you do this. I mean, look, Fred, the NFL got all kind of power. They do all kind of stuff. You know that, and I know it too. But No, they were not going to draft him. And like I said, when I said it came from a good source, it came from a very, very good source. They said they weren't going to draft him. I like, because when I saw it, when he went to the second round, I said, oh, I said it out loud. They're not going to draft him. They're going to make an example out of him. I knew it.
Do you think
so the guy that they drafted, the quarterback they drafted ahead of him, he wasn't as good as Shedeur. He even said it. I mean, how do you draft a guy that you know that's not better than the guy that you drafted after? That don't even make sense.
Do you think Shedeur knew they wanted to make an example out of him?
I don't think he realized to the extent that the NFL would go to make an example out of him. No, I don't think he knew that. I don't think his dad knew the extent that they would go to make an example out of him. I mean,
Guy, what's going on? Hey, look, you gotta let my brother have his way in the league. I'm worried about your pop. What you worried about him?
We know what you think of him as a prospect. Now the opportunity in front of him and how quickly you expect those traits to be able to play, to be the guy, if in fact you think that can happen quickly.
Offensive line, that's critical for Shedeur. Said it when Tom Brady was taken. The offensive line's got to protect him. He's got to have that fortress in front of him, as Brady did, allowed him to have that success. You think about what he had at Colorado. He dealt with adversity. He dealt with a muddy pocket. He done it with everything NFL conditions lead you to have to deal with once you get to the pro level. Then you think about the character. I think this is the misperception. I think the fact of the matter is Deion was a great teammate. Deion practiced hard. They loved him in the NFL. They loved him with the Atlanta Braves in Major League Baseball. Shedeur, he will galvanize. He'll be that kind of guy. So again, the offensive line, if you're talking about the Cleveland Browns, that's the issue, guys. If they can protect him, obviously get the weapons, but up front is where they got to be strong. You allow him to do his job, and he will be a surgeon. He will pick you apart. I mean, you give Shedeur time. He sees the field. He's accurate to all levels, and he is a tremendous competitor, incredibly tough. So again, durable, having all the hits and took, and never got hurt. Okay, and he didn't have a running game. Not to mention offensive line, he had no running game. So he was out there, and he led them to a winning year. He led them to an upset over TCU when he first got there, first game. Then the wheels came off. That Stanford game when the second half the lead was won with the half. Shedeur Sanders, to me, when you talk about the locker room and the players around him, they love him. Now, the perception from others outside, based on what there's the noise, maybe they didn't like what they heard. I don't know how it was handled. You get all the word about this, that, and you think, well, they're just trying to hurt Shedeur. Teams are still throwing it out there. You don't know what was true, what wasn't. How Deion's going to operate. Deion's going to stay out of it. He's not going to be calling or threatening any coaches or saying, or there'll be a threat that Deion could take over. Deion's not happy. Deion's not going to say anything. Deion's going to coach Colorado. So a lot of this stuff, I think, just made no sense to me, kind of the negativity you heard over the last couple months.
Here's the question, and Reese, you kind of got us there at the beginning of this conversation. What lessons will be learned? And will they be used effectively to turn him into the player that I think we have some level of confidence across this desk that he can become? If so, this has a legitimate chance to be and this is not hyperbole here, the best value on day 3 so far because it's the most important position in all teams.
Hit rate the last 31 years for 5th-round picks at quarterback is 0. 0.
It's your guy, though.
0.
Buck the trend.
I'm saying up until now, the last 31 years, okay? Quarterbacks in the 5th round, you want the chart? Here it is, right here. I went back and looked at it.
All right, what do you got?
From 1994 to 2024, it's 31 years. What's that say?
0 for 43.
0 for 43 with a couple still to be determined.
Wow.
Spencer Rattler, one of those guys, still to be determined. Right? 1970 to 1993, hit rate in the 5th round, 19%, right? So again, 5th round's not the round to get a quarterback. Okay? It hadn't been proven. It was going back to 1970. That's a long time, right? Shedeur Sanders, 5th round pick. We'll see if he can do something that very few have been able to do.
The aberration, though, probably with a couple of notable exceptions, 5th round or beyond, is that very few quarterbacks were evaluated like this just on the tape.
Right.
At the same level that he
that's the difference, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't a talent issue. This isn't a can-do issue. This transcended that. And that's why I think of anybody on that list that you have of fifth round guys, none of them had the skill set that this young man had. This is not about can you play the position. This is about do we want you to play the position for us. That's what this game.
Why wouldn't they, Lou?
Well, look, that's a whole nother discussion that we've had in many different ways for weeks
I would say
and
that
months now.
It's not one of the toughest quarterbacks you've ever.
But Mel, this isn't about this isn't about quarterback traits and quarterback characteristics, personal football character. That's not about this. This is personal.
Has he had an off the field issue? No, he has not.
Mel, you don't have to sell it to me.
No, but I don't know what we're talking about here.
You're right. You're right.
Yes,
you're right. But you know what? But Mel, the draft has spoken.
Now, whenever you're in circumstances in life, whether you like them, whether you don't like them, whether they're fair or whether they're unfair, you might have to deal with them.
That's
and
right.
now Shedeur Sanders has to deal with
everything.
And for whatever reason, whether he played a minute, microscopic percentage, 0%, or it's a legitimate criticism of the way he conducted himself during the draft process, this was the result.
Yeah.
Now he has an opportunity to answer it. I mean, I think yelling at the NFL about it is not.
There's not a quarterback. Boomer Esiason was not happy when he was a second-round pick.
Tom Brady was not happy.
They dropped. How'd they turn out?
And you know what?
My point.
Nobody's arguing that can happen.
Reese, the NFL has been clueless for 50 years when it comes to evaluating quarterbacks. Clueless. No idea what they're doing in terms of evaluating quarterback. That's proof. There's proof of that.
How many
times say we know exactly what we're talking about with quarterbacks? They don't.
Nobody's batted 1,000 there.
No, that's correct.
Right? I mean, I think that's
all that matters now is what happens going forward. We talk about it all the time. There is the evaluation phase, there's the evaluation and selection phase, which we're in right now, and then there's the development and implementation phase. That's where we're heading to right now. That's all that matters for him. Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry,
and Lou.
Have at it.
Quarterbacks now, and Reese, you know it well as anybody, college kids now are getting paid. They're professional. They're getting paid. They're commercials. They're out there. You got to deal with that. If you're the NFL, you got to deal with that. Okay? He's saying whatever he's saying behind closed doors. What's he saying? I want to be the guy. I should be this. I should be that. Deion saying he's the best player in the draft. He's the best quarterback. Second best to Travis Hunter. Best quarterback. Who is it? But what quarterback out there didn't think they should have been a high first-round pick?
Again, nobody's criticizing what happened. We're saying he has to deal with the reality of the result from it.
Correct.
That's all.
Pick
140. Shedeur Sanders. Everybody wishes.
The origin of your relationship with Tom, did it come about through your dad? The origin of your relationship with Tom, did it come about through your dad or something else?
Well, far back, I'll say a couple years ago, he extended his hand. He was like, come work out with me in Tampa. We flew down there. Dad came and we rode with him. He took me in his truck to this field, to his high school field. Then from then on, he was just telling me knowledge, and I filmed everything. I recorded everything. So now, even sometimes I go back and just listen to the things that he said at that time, and it registers. You know, everything that he said back then registers now, and it applies. So that's what I'm thankful for him. Like those high pressure moments, like that's what we live in, and I wish the whole game was just straight that. Honestly, that's when I say we excel. But really, like in my own mind, I was thinking Brady mode. Like he does it all the time. I got to be able to do it. Just talking to him, just and really just representing him in that way. We like those high pressure moments. Like that's what we live in, and I wish the whole game was just straight that. Honestly, that's when I say we excel.
You guys are down by 11 in the fourth quarter. You come back to win it in overtime. What kept you believing?
Really, we just knew. We messed up on things on offense and things that, wouldn't let me go to sleep the night at. So we all rallied together and we talked as a team, and like we're not going out like that, especially like, with somebody disrespect Pop. So, I was just waiting the whole time to put a watch on him.
Hey, you're backed up to your 2-yard line. That last drive in regulation, you have to go 98 yards for a touchdown. You get it done. What was your message to your teammates when you guys took over the ball at the 2?
At the 2, all I was thinking was Brady mode. That's it. Simple.
Brady mode? Tom Brady mode?
Brady mode. That's it. You left too much time out there.
He's been a mentor of yours?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we talk after every game. I'm sure he's gonna text me in a second, but that's all I was thinking is Brady mode. If he could do it, I know I could do it, and we just alike.
Shedeur has from the very beginning, the thing that you told me, he says he has one mission. He wants to be playing at the level that you and I played at.
Yes.
And whatever I tell him, it's like he's like a sponge. You say he was out there with Brady, and he was just absorbing everything Brady said.
Everything. And he looks up to Brady. He endorses Brady's brand.
Right.
And Tom keeps in touch with him and keep him on point and make sure he's who he is. But his work ethic is like ours.
Right.
And he's an old soul, man. His nickname is Grown because he's been there. We've been calling him Grown ever since he was a shorty.
What does it mean to coach your son?
To coach both of them is, I love it because I get the father and coach. Now you got to understand, when we cross that line, I'm coach.
Right.
I'm not your dad. I'm coach.
So when they're on the sideline, they refer to you as dad or coach?
They better not refer to me as dad. Yeah, I don't play that. I'm coach.
You coach?
Yeah, and they don't cross that line.
Right. So how old were your sons when you started coaching them?
5 and 7. And we lied about Shedeur's age so he could play with his brother.
But Shedeur has always been, he's never played any other position other than quarterback.
Yeah, he's always been a quarterback. He played a little strong safety, but that was just to learn everything that the defense entailed.
Right.
So he could be a better quarterback. And Shiloh started out playing quarterback. Right. And, he just got to that point. I said, son, it's over. Quarterback is over. Why are you going to let him do it? It is over. I said, Shiloh, you're going to be a corner. I can teach you how to do this. You're going to get offers from all around the country. Let me teach you. We went in the backyard and we was getting down doing some stuff. I had a couple guys running little routes on him. He told me, guy got off the jam and he missed him clean because he closed his eyes and spread his leg. He said, your stuff don't work. I said, God bless you. I walked right in the house, got in bed. He said, my stuff don't work. I'm serious, dog. But you know what? He kept working.
Right.
And we went to a couple camps and he ended up rushing people and choking them and running them out of bounds. Like, Shiloh nasty. Right. He is nasty.
Tom Brady has called me out. I guess he's called me a liar. So I'm about to call BS on Tom Brady because Tom, you know and I know everything I said about you and Shedeur Sanders is obviously exactly right. I said on the Skip Bayless show, and I tweeted several times, that Tom Brady obviously played a role in the Raiders passing on Shedeur Sanders 7 times in the draft before finally Cleveland took him, as you know, early in the 5th round. 7 times the Raiders passed on Shedeur Sanders. Yet when Tom Brady was asked on the Jake Paul podcast why Shedeur fell so far, he stammered for a second. And then he said, that's a good question. And then Tom said, I wasn't part of any evaluation process or to see that. I guess meaning that he wasn't at all a part of the Raiders draft process. So he wasn't privy to any inside information about why Shedeur fell so far, so fast. Really interesting. So soon after Pete Carroll took over as Raiders coach, he said, we're going to build this team up around the quarterback position, and we're going to lean on Tom as much as we possibly can. Smart. Then there was this from the new Raiders general manager, John Spytek, who said, when we are looking at a quarterback, we'd be a fool not to involve Tom. Well, obviously you'd be an absolute idiot not to involve Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., the greatest quarterback ever. I mean, we're talking about the GOAT, who's now a Raiders owner. And not only that, but Tom is close friends with Mark Davis, the majority owner of the Raiders. And he's also very good friends with John Spytek because they played briefly together at Michigan, and then Spytek was an executive at Tampa who actually helped get Tom to Tampa, where he obviously, after he got kicked out the back door in New England, went straight to Tampa in the pandemic year and took a 7-9 team to a Super Bowl championship. Spytek was a part of that. And most important to this question is that Shedeur Sanders became the most debatable player by far in this draft. I've been doing this, covering the NFL for almost 50 years. I think he was the most debatable lightning rod player in the history of the National Football League draft. I said he was the best quarterback from the start before the college football season started. Mel Kiper ranked Shedeur 5th overall, 1 slot ahead of Cam Ward. Considered it a strength of Shedeur's that since he was in high school, it may go back before that, you'd know this better than I would, Tom. Tom Brady mentored and coached Shedeur Sanders all the way up through high school and into college and through college. Mentored and coached. Nobody out there outside of Shedeur's family knows his game and his nature, his tangibles and his intangibles better than Tom Brady. So we're to believe that nobody in the Raiders organization at any point in time before the draft said, "Hey Tom, what's your opinion of Shedeur?" And by the way, the Raiders did need a quarterback desperately badly.
Taking things out here. Look real good right here, though. Look real good right here. Just letting y'all know. Hey, Shedeur, Shallow, it look real good right here? Yeah, you shaking his head. Yeah, it's real good right here. Just letting y'all know. Just, don't read into it. Just letting y'all know. It looks real good. It's not a mistake that he's now the head coach of the Raiders, and my kids love to play for him. It's not a mistake. So, we checking things out here.
Been following you. I watch all your games. Who knows? You may be home right now. Yeah, right on. Good. How long you count? Okay. Watching. You'll keep at it.
Tom Brady buys minority stake in Las Vegas Raiders.
I think that's smart of him. It's a long-term investment, and that's good for him because you never know where two's gonna end up.
Come on, bro. You starting out at, bro. But I think it was a great decision, great thing for him. He did everything he can on the field. So off the field, he's, I guess, indulging in a lot of different things now. But they said he's looking for a quarterback, so we'll see.
Maybe two.
Tom Brady buys
Sanders of Colorado. Now, Sanders of Colorado. Now, everybody thinks he's going in the first round. Most people have him, a late first round, early second round grade that I've spoken to, but they all think he's going much sooner than that. Many believe he's the best pure passer in this draft. He can hit the tight windows. He's on point. He's accurate, and he can deliver the ball to somebody in stride. You don't see receivers waiting for the ball to hit him. Next one is, I was told, is he had tremendous timing. He knows when to release the football. Every throw with his arm. There's not one full throw on the field. He makes every throw. Another one is he has played behind a lot of poor offensive lines, and he's tough. He has proven to be tough. And I've talked about this for years. Extremely athletic in the pocket. Extremely athletic in the pocket, which is what they want. They want that guy, and I've talked about this for years, that'll stay in that pocket and think pass first, not run first, but he can run. I'm not calling him Patrick Mahomes because they're not the same player. But he has similarities to Patrick, where Patrick was not this way coming into the league, which is pretty interesting to me. Coming into the league, Patrick was more of a run-first guy. And Andy Reid did a masterful job of really training him to where he became a stay-in-the-pocket, a run-second guy. Shedeur is a run-second guy right now. I like that, and I know the interest that is there with Shedeur. It is starting to take, I'm not saying it's there yet, and I reserve the right, but it's starting to take this is a Shedeur Sanders. They've got to get Shedeur type of feel. Extremely athletic.
Before they went out and acquired Geno Smith. But my point is, at no point, neither Pete Carroll, nor John Spytek, nor Mark Davis said, "Hey, Tom, give us your take on Shedeur. Stop it, Tom. Quit lying to us, Tom. Quit dodging the truth, Tom." I'm just going to say it. I'm calling bullshit on you because that's utter bullshit. The Raiders would be fools if they didn't ask you your opinion of Shedeur. And obviously, as I'm about to detail, you said no to Shedeur.
It was just talking to him and understanding, okay, how to improve each week. He texted me after the game, don't be satisfied. Like, It's cool. So it was cool hearing from him, knowing he's still watching and stuff like that. But just working with him, it really helped me just understand. Don't focus on the good things. We did that. That's night and day. We're gonna do that regardless. Focus on the bad things. Focus on the things that we wasn't able to do at a high level. So improve that, then you got a full armor everywhere.
This has just added more fuel to the fire for you.
Nah, not really. But I don't take this and be like, oh, I'm gonna prove everybody wrong. Like, no, it's just me proving myself right. My confidence and how I feel doesn't really change. I'm myself and thankful, for getting the opportunity to have a chance to play the game. I just, gotta stay consistent and let my work, of course, speak how it has been speaking for the past couple of years. On the way to LA right now. We got Brady Brand shoot. Then we're going to Houston. Training with the guys. Then it's back to the jet. Back to reality. I'm set right now, Brady shoot. Legendary, man. You know what I'm saying? Really a model, to be honest. Yeah. Really a model to me. Yeah. Look at that, man.
It was pretty great to see this last weekend. Deion and Shedeur out there at Colorado balling, and talk about a father-son duo. That was so cool to watch. And it's just what life's all about, man. He goes from Jackson State. Deion's never been a coach. Jackson State, goes to Colorado, gets off to a great start. I saw his pregame speech. I was ready to run through, my iPhone. He's just doing great things. So it just speaks to great parenting, really caring about your kids. And we had great parents, and to keep seeing stuff like that, that's what I love to see.
I know you're very loyal and faithful, but now we got Prime on, and of course you got to wear all the swag. I mean,
absolutely. We got Shedeur Sanders, Coach Prime here, University of Colorado. Hit it.
Yeah, we gotta get Lil Wayne to write some lyrics for that. We gotta get some lyrics.
Hey, Coach, my dad always used to tell me when I was young, nothing good happens after midnight, and I have to disagree with him. I stayed up until 2:30 in the morning to watch that unbelievable finish, man. That was spectacular to watch. Your boys fought.
Yeah, they were resilient. I was happy. I was upset because we started out like garbage, like we have the last couple of weeks. We started out slow offensively, but we slowly but surely got it going. And thank God the little fella don't flinch. I mean, the thing about it, I knew, not just as a coach, but as a father, I knew, hey, long as the ball is in his hands, we're fine. It was so funny, Tom, like throughout the game, I'm a dad and a coach. Coach. But Shiloh came to me at the end, when we were getting ready to go to overtime. He said, Dad, you gonna put the defense out first? I said, we ain't stopped nobody all day. Your brother get this ball. Your brother's this ball. We're going to put pressure on them. So I'm tired of feeling pressure on us. Your brother's going to do this.
Yeah, and he did. It was amazing to watch. I'm so proud of him, and, just watching him grow and mature. And, we all started a certain place, and he had a lot of high expectations, and he's embraced it. I love him, and it just makes me proud to see what he's doing. So, I know it's just the beginning for you guys, and this obviously the season, but beyond that. But you're a great dad to be able to be there for him every step of the way. So it's really fun to watch.
Man, I love it. First of all, he loves you to life, and I'm just thinking about the moments when you was on the field with him and just showing him, just showing him little things, and he took all that stuff to heart. Everything you do, everything you say, and you have no idea how many times I use you to get on his butt. So you think Tom has a Maybach in college? You think Tom got a Maybach? So you think Tom is one of Rolls Royce Phantom in college?
For sure.
All the time.
I love it. I know. I'm always here for him because I think in him I see someone that, he's got obviously a great work ethic, but he wants the knowledge too. And I think part of all of us on this call too is so many people that came into our life which allowed us to be successful, and obviously having great parents, but having these other instrumental people that come in at the right time when you're really open to learning. And I mean, I think it's like so many people always ask me, how good do you think this guy's going to be? How good? And I always say, well, it depends who he surrounds himself with. You know, it depends who mentors them, because I mean, even you weren't a finished product at 21 or 22. That's right. I certainly wasn't. I had the right people coming to my life. I was open to learning from them. And man, when I learned from Coach Belichick, when I learned from Greg Hart, when I learned from my boy Alex, when I learned from, that's when it just kept going and going and going. So the sky's the limit when you have the opportunity to learn. If you're hard-headed, you think you know everything, and believe me, there's a lot of kids out there, they think they know everything, and they don't know shit. Right. And that's the problem.
We got somebody in the locker room right now. I wish they could hear this.
What made you decide that he was special enough to have regard for your time, that you wanted to take this on, and that he was worthy?
Well, I think naturally, you know, he's very proactive. You know, we had a conversation, and then phone calls, and then text messages, and then, you know, him making the commitment to say, all right, hey, this is what I want to do. I'm really serious about it. Because a lot of it, there's a young man right there. A lot of it is, you know, you want to see what their intention is too, you know, because when you see someone that's really open to learning and wants to, you know, has this thirst for knowledge, you want to be able to support that, you know. And I think Shedeur is, you know, just done amazing things in a very short. Listen, stay humble, young man over there. I know I'm saying a lot of nice things about you. You shouldn't be hearing all this. I'd rather be telling your dad this and just tell you to get back to work. But you know, it's just great to watch and just to see, you know, this youthful spirit and this program that you know, has been really turned around in a short period of time, because great leadership. And, you know, it's always about the people and caring about one another, caring about what you're trying to accomplish. And, you know, Deion and Shedeur are great leaders for that team.
Shedeur, thanks for joining us. So when you get advice from Tom, how's it different than what you might hear from your father, your coach, and your father?
This is a good one.
Well, nah, you know, hearing it from Dad, I always hear it my whole life. So it's like, right. I kind of understand what he's saying now, majority of the time, I would say. But of course, whenever I talk to Tom, then it's just different. Like, because he actually been back there taking snaps. My dad ain't never been that quarterback.
I was there in high school. Okay, I was there in high school, son. Don't minimize it.
Read option. So that's what I'm saying. So he understands, you know, like just basically what you go through, and just different personalities with, like, you know, your players, and like what it takes to win.
A lot of it too, you know, you want to look, if you want to be a great receiver, at the end of the day, I'd go talk to Fitzy. You know, if I want to be a great corner, I want to go talk to Prime. You know, and, you know, for quarterbacks, you want to find those other quarterbacks that you like. Okay, I like that. And for me, I always have people I like. A lot of them, I did a lot of things different than, but I love Joe Montana. I love Steve Young. I love John Elway, all the greats. But you just, you know, that's who you want to talk to. You want to soak it in. You want to watch the film. And unfortunately now with social media, there's so much that, you know, you can see. You know, I was watching, you know, Prime fight Andre Rison. I think Andre Rison today. I don't know, that came up for some reason. It must have been, you know, listening on my freaking phone or whatever. But I mean, all these things are so easily available now. And even seeing Shedeur and some of his teammates, you know, normally you wouldn't even have access to all that. Now you could see it firsthand. You can, you know, okay, I can watch and study. And when I watch Shedeur play, I'm looking at his mechanics. Yeah, I'm watching a game, but I'm watching his mechanics. I'm watching his decision making, how quickly the ball's coming out of his hands from the time he makes a decision. You know, a lot of those things. And he's still, you know, he's still a young man. He's still got so much opportunity to grow as long as he stays really continuing the pursuit of learning. This game and sports you're never a finished product. From the moment you start playing to the end, you're never a finished product. There's always something you can improve physically, mentally, emotionally to be your best. So that's what we're all trying to do. And I love seeing, you know, a younger version of that too, who's very inspiring to a lot of people right now.
Jim, you know what's ironic about that is, matter of fact, he's on TV right here while we're talking about this. We can't put just anybody out there with him, and Fitz, you guys will understand this, because, and I use the Tom analogy, you can't put a dumb receiver out there with Tom Brady. You can't do it. You can't put a dumb quarterback out there with you, Fitz, because it just don't work. It don't click. And Shedeur, we recruit differently because of where he is, intelligence-wise, intellectual. I mean, just understanding the game. You can't throw a freshman receiver out there with Shedeur. You can't throw a guy who's not a study guy, who don't understand coverages and know where to sit and understand defensive. You can't do that with him. So it affects the way we recruit. So that's why we have to go in the portal to get older kids, because what he's going to say, get out. I mean, he's going to look right at them right after this play in 707, get out, give me him, let's go. I mean, that's the way he runs it at practice. So it changes the whole perspective of recruiting as well.
Coach, let me ask you, when you hear Brady mode, what does that mean to you and to your son?
That means we about to do this. We about to do this. Like the sad thing about it, I could believe he said it, because that's who he is. But it is so fitting, because when he got the ball, we on the 2-yard line, he get the ball. All I was saying on the sideline, just get to the ball. We straight. I've seen this before. We're straight. I know what he's gonna do. And then when he said that in the press conference or wherever he said it, Brady mode, I was like, that everybody knew darn well, you get Tom the ball last, you got minute 50, minute 30 on the clock, it's a wrap. He gonna get it done. And that's the way Shedeur thinks. He never thinks that we're gonna lose. He always thinks we're gonna win, or how much we're gonna win by. He never thinks negatively on any aspect of the game. And I love that. And I never doubted him for 1 minute. You know, he's not a runner. He's a guy who assesses the defense tremendously, but just getting out of there, scrambling and picking up first downs. And you could tell he just clicked in that Brady mode and said, let me get this done. You know, let's go. Let me get this done.
Brady mode is a little different in today's day and age. Brady mode to me now is my golf game, and slicing 98-yard sand wedges. It's no longer, you know, like I said on my IG, I said I want to be in Shedeur mode just one time, you know, because that young man is doing things.
Early, did you see something special in that young man?
I knew early on when he started playing quarterback, he was special. We called him grown because he's always had the nature of an adult. He's always seen things that others can see at his age. He's always been a real professional type young man that got it. The work ethic, the verbiage, the articulation to your teammates, taking control of the huddle back then, even in youth. He was checking off at 7 years old, changing plays that I didn't even have to. Like, you knew.
How early did you see?
Game Shedeur ever played in his life, I coached him. I had never been away from him. I'm watching the games and I'm seeing 74% completion percentage, 72, 70, 68. And he said, Dad, I need you. I need you back. It's okay. I'll be there. I'm in a big old wheelchair, man. And I probably had lost 30, 40 pounds. That was tough, but he said he needed me. Any parent out there, if your child say, I need you, you're gonna break your neck to be there. And when you know it, we were down in the fourth quarter and he marched us down the field, threw the game-winning touchdown. And I look at the scoreboard and it had 21 of them. They're driving down, they throw a deep ball, Shallow picks it off. Forget Super Bowl, World Series, forget anything. That moment right there.
Because they did pass him 7 straight times with 3 picks in the 3rd round and 2 in the 4th round. They just passed and passed and passed. I don't know exactly what you didn't like about Shedeur, but you obviously vetoed Shedeur. I don't know if you don't like his intangibles, the way a lot of people around the NFL thought he was just too brash and too arrogant and too spoiled and privileged and entitled and blah, 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 blah. I've heard it all. I'm still hearing it all. I'm getting it from all sides. I know it all, Tom, and I'm about to spit it all out. You've heard it all, Tom. Maybe it was the intangibles that turned you away, or maybe you watched him evolve as a quarterback and you just said, no, he just can't play in this league. A lot of people thought you couldn't play in this league, you 6th round draft pick that you were. So maybe you did to Shedeur what they did unto you, Tom. But you obviously said no. And I get it that Pete Carroll said, going on 74 years of age, maybe this is his last gig. I don't know. Maybe he thinks it's his last gig. And he said, I need a quarterback. I know I need a quarterback who's proven to me that he can handle it. Somebody I trust under fire. And he became a Geno believer in Seattle. So you went out for a 3rd round pick and you got Geno Smith, and you gave him a couple of more years at around, what can he make, around 40 million a year? It's pretty good money. And Geno's pretty good. I don't think his ceiling is nearly as high as Shedeur's, but that's just me. But you banked on Geno for a couple of years more. What is he, 34? And Yeah, I'm looking at your situation even after you acquired Geno, and I'm thinking, man, Shedeur would make the perfect understudy with Tom Brady still mentoring and coaching for a couple of years. Perfect, beautiful. Like maybe 3 years, like Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. And look, I certainly understood the Raiders with their 6th overall pick saying, hey, Ashton Genty is just too rare of a specimen, just too rarely gifted a running back to pass up at 6th overall. You need that piece to the puzzle, and that's a big, bad piece to the puzzle. I'm good with it. I get it. But then here it went, and Shedeur began to fall for many various, mostly to me, despicable reasons. And so we're to believe, Tom Brady, that not once did you communicate as Shedeur fell. Not once did you say to Spytech, to Mark Davis, to Pete, to anybody, hey, let's take him now. So look what your team did, Tom. Look what happened. You have 3 third-round picks. So in the second round, you go wide receiver, and then third round, you go cornerback, offensive lineman. Okay. 4th round, you go wide receiver, and now you have a second pick in the 4th round, Tom. You have pick number 135. It's 9 slots before Shedeur is finally going to go to Cleveland because Jimmy Haslam finally said, that's enough, I'm taking him. Maybe just to make a little splash. I don't think anybody else in Cleveland wanted him because 50 slots higher, they'd obviously already taken my guy from Oklahoma, Dylan Gabriel. That's who they wanted to groom as a rookie quarterback. And the owner, who wanted Johnny Manziel, who plunged, obviously, for Deshaun Watson, he just said, we can get Shedeur Sanders. He had dinner with Deion and Shedeur. I'm sure he liked him. He might be the only right one out there, the only right-thinking brain out there. But you've got a 2nd, 4th round pick, and you don't just snap up Shedeur Sanders, your guy, that you had helped grow? You're kidding. Instead, you take Tonka Hemingway. You take a defensive tackle out of South Carolina. I know they were, that front 7 was hellacious good. They destroyed my team in Nashville this year. And I just said, we can't, we're suffocated. We can't even move the ball. Maybe he'll be great, but he ain't a quarterback, and he ain't that quarterback. And you're telling me that not once did you say, hold the phone, man. What are we doing? Not once. 7 times you passed. You obviously just didn't believe in this kid, and you should own that. You should just acknowledge it. It's okay. There's no problem with it. That's the way I do business. Just own it. I mean, I own the fact that from the start I said, these are the things I love about Shedeur Sanders. He's deadly accurate, led the nation in passing percentage last year, completion percentage. He's as tough as any quarterback, college quarterback I've ever watched. I've been watching college football for a long, long time. He took hellacious beatings both years. I know he held the ball too long. I get it. He was trying to, with all of his heart and all his soul, win football games for his pops with a team that was under-talented in way too many spots, often in the offensive line. That can be cured, but the toughness can't be taught. You know that. The clutchness, God, it can't be taught. You're the clutchest ever, you know. Did you watch the tape? Did you watch him play? Maybe you were busy prepping for your NFL games. I don't know. I saw leadership. I saw sideline leadership. I saw teams feed off him at Colorado both years and at Jackson State. People blast me. I've even had friends call, well, what's he ever won? Okay. Well, they got to the championship game at Jackson State, turned that program around. They just didn't have enough in Boulder yet. He'll build it. He's going to win a national championship there. But his father, to me, was a strength, not a weakness. I know the NFL condemned this whole situation because of the father, and the father's going to be too involved. I've heard it all. I have been bombarded, Tom, over the last 2 weeks from all sides. I'm getting it from inside and outside, from people I know, people I've known for years. I've heard it all. Too entitled. He is Shedeur. He's spoiled. He's pampered. He flaunts his jewelry. The exotic cars that he drove in Boulder, he's making, $3 million a year. Highest paid college athlete ever. They were the biggest draw in the history of college football. That's what they were. You want to talk about a TV draw from coast to coast? My God. The world woke up on Saturday to see what Deion and Shedeur were going to do in Travis, obviously. All I heard was, no, he's just as interested in his rap career. What was his song, Perfect Timing, and that he's doing this, trying to promote his rap song. Got a little traction in Colorado for a while. Promote his clothing line, that he's more interested in his clothing line. I heard it all than his football. I heard all the stories. I hate to even tell them, but I'm just going to hint at them because you've heard them all, Tom. I know you heard them all from the inside. You're privy to all this. There's a story about the Giants involving you, and it could be completely apocryphal, but here's the point. This is the story that got circulated around the NFL. This is another one of those inside stories that got passed around that doomed Shedeur to the 5th round. It was something about during the interview, they had a couple, but during one of the interviews, somebody with the Giants, I don't know if it was executive or coach, asked Shedeur about you, Shedeur's relationship with you, the mentoring, teaching, coaching, and somebody asked some question about, is Tom your role model? Do you try to model your life after Tom's? And Shedeur said something like, well, I don't want to model myself after his wife left him for a trainer. And I don't even know if he said that, but I've heard it again and again. That doomed him with the Giants. Okay, fine.
What is Boogie Knight? Maybe the best name we've ever had as a guest on the show.
Great movie, too.
Great movie.
Yeah.
He is the head of operations at Young Money APAA Sports, close friend of Shedeur Sanders, and he's in Cleveland now. How you doing, Boogie?
Man, great, man. Happy to be here, bro.
Yeah,
man,
good to have you.
A lot of love in the city, man, since we touched down. Whole lot of love.
How did you connect initially with Shedeur?
Man, I've been with Shedeur since he was like 6th grade.
Oh,
actually,
really?
Been around the family with Prime. Prime gave me opportunity in Dallas when he had his high school there.
Yeah.
So I went to be one of the coaches at Prime Prep on the basketball side with him and his chief of staff at Colorado. Now, man, we've been together for a long time. So from there to the Trinity Christians to the Jackson State, Colorado, I've been with him the whole way through.
I know through, obviously because of Prime, he's able to talk to some all-time great legends, and he has relationships with a lot of players. Mm-hmm. Has he had a chance recently to talk to Tom Brady? Obviously, while Tom Brady didn't have the hype coming out of college, Tom Brady was drafted even later than he was. So right. I wonder, has he had a chance to talk to him, or will he, you think?
He haven't talked to Tom.
Yeah.
Don't know if they will talk.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That situation even was a whole other situation. I'd have thought that was, because Tom known him since he was a kid. Tom knows who he is, and then for even them that consider him at one point and then completely take him off the board, whatever, that's a whole other conversation that I can't wrap my mind around. I don't know about it, so I just
like you said,
stay out of that one.
You're gonna stay in college. You're gonna go to the big scenes or not?
Yeah, this after the season, then that's when it's time to get ready for the league.
Which one is your favorite team? Or you cannot say it because you cannot choose the draft.
Nah, I can't say it. Yeah, but nah, it's a couple teams that'll fit, the situation and everything. And you got to understand there's a couple teams that don't like the personality, that don't like, dad, and don't like everything like that. So it is what it is.
Don't worry about that. Be confident, because the more noise you make and the more they talk, you're doing good. Just follow that path.
I was just, I was thrilled because I thought that was devastating what happened.
at the draft, dude. And then when I interviewed Deion the other day, I'm gonna tell you something. That was the most difficult thing for me because, you know, I love him. He's my boy. We're so close. All of us are so close. And I knew that he had cancer because he called me right away, brought me up, told me. And I really, it was a burden on me because I didn't want anybody to find out. I knew he had only told me. If somebody find out, I don't want him to think I violated it anyway. I would never do that. He had to come on to do an interview. And I came over and we were doing the interview. And I was finding out things. Like, dude, I almost broke down when I heard he had cancer during the draft. Do y'all understand that he had cancer during, and then his son drops like that? You know, I'll get emotional talking about it. But to think about, you worked all your life for this moment. And your dad, you know, you didn't have it with your dad. You worked all this hard. You worked hard with your son side by side for this moment. And in this moment, you got cancer now. You think you're dying and not telling anybody. So at least if I can have this moment, if I'm going to go, then I'm good with that. You know what I mean? And then your son drops, and you still. That was hard for me to hear that my guy went through that, and to be right there because I didn't know the details of it, and it's even hard for me to think about it or talk about it because I know what it means. But then to see how Shedeur's handling it,
couldn't handle it.
You know, you cannot handle it better, and when you get a mess like that, you like he did, you turn it into a message. That's what makes him him, you know, and that's what makes him great. I tell people, you hear him talk about it all the time. He's on Instagram, on all his social media. He's all inspiration, motivation. Positive. That's what he gives. And you heard the talk. God displayed his walk. You know, he gave you evidence that he believes what he's saying because he has to walk it out. That was tough for me to watch him go through it. But I'm so happy with how it has come out and how Shedeur's playing. You know what I mean? So yeah, all that thing that devil meant for evil, God made it good.
He's still just a kid. Maybe he was trying to act cool. And then there was what he did say publicly about don't take me unless you want your culture changed. And I heard that several people up high in Pittsburgh, including Mike Tomlin, were like, okay, we're out on him now because we don't need our culture changed. We are a culture. We've had a culture from the start. We are the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I don't even know if that's true, but that's the kind of story that picked up steam and grew longer and longer legs, and those legs just stamped all over Deion and Shedeur. It just made me sick because I think he's a good kid, and I think he's a good kid, and I know he's a hard worker. There's some video out there, I think it was distributed by the Sanders family, you know, to promote Colorado football. It was Cam Ward. In the video, Shedeur asked Cam, hey, when we get finished working out, you want to go record, as in record rap songs? And Cam's like, what? All I care about is being a great quarterback. Okay, so NFL people are like, see, that's why you don't. I've read so many NFL executives. I read Jared Bell's column today in USA Today about how 3 anonymous executives are saying, you know, one had a first-round grade on Shedeur, the other 2 had a second-round grade. Well, he fell to the 5th round. So they're pretty much admitting, well, it went beyond football. It was personal. Yeah, it was personal. It's about all this stuff. So, in the end, it wasn't like Brady actually called me out, because he didn't call me out by name on the Jake Paul podcast. He just said that was wrong. And by translation, of course, I'm wrong. But Tom did it with the big, broad brush. He condemned the media. took the cowardly way out. Just take me on, Tom. I don't care. I can take it because I'm right. Tom said on the Jake Paul podcast, that's the problem with media, is everyone can just say whatever the fuck they want.
Shedeur Sanders. What happened, Tom? Why did he go so late in the draft?
Nobody knows. I actually texted Shedeur because I know him very well. And I said, dude, like whatever happens, wherever you go, that's your first day. Day 2 matters more than the draft. I was 199. Yeah. Who could speak on it better than me? Like what that really means. Use it as motivation. You're going to get your chances. Go take advantage of it.
Elephant in the room, Shedeur Sanders. What happened, Tom? Why did he go so late in the draft?
I mean, it's a good question. I wasn't a part of any evaluation process or to
Skip Bayless says
that.
otherwise.
No, well, everyone's got that's the problem with media is everyone can just say whatever the fuck they want. I actually texted Shedeur because I know him very well. And I said, dude, like whatever happens, wherever you go, like that's your first day. Day 2 matters more than the draft. I was 199.
Yeah.
So who could speak on it better than me? Like what that really means. Use it as motivation. You're going to get your chances. Go take advantage of it.
Shedeur Sanders was reportedly pissed at the Giants during his private pre-draft visit. They give players an install, and there are mistakes intentionally put in the install. He didn't catch them and got called out. He was pissed they did that to him. Some teams say they had him as a third-day option. Normally, Joe, what they do with the quarterback, they're bringing in a quarterback. They'll send plays and look, okay, here's the plays we want you to break them down, want you to diagram. Now, Ocho, you know the plays long now. So they tell the quarterback this. They show it to him on the board. Then it goes dark and say, okay, go draw the play on the board. And they want you to regurgitate what you told them. Because as a quarterback, you have to have great recall. The Giants sent him plays to install, intentionally put mistakes in. He didn't catch the mistakes. They told him, he got upset that they didn't tell him.
Teams have to do their just due when it comes to these meetings, these interviews. There are a lot of people, Unc, that play the game of football that can go into these meetings and these interviews and ace them. And you turn on the film, they sorry than the motherfucker.
You're right.
We know what you get with Shedeur when he plays the game of football on Sunday. I know what I get on the field. Why even play this game? What game are we playing? What are you proving by purposely putting mistakes in there?
Why play these games? Why put the mistakes in there? When you turn the film on, Uncle Ocho, when you watching Shedeur, for me, it's like the film shows the poise and patience that he has in the pocket. I feel like his talent will show in in-game situation.
And I think God put him in this position and sending him to Cleveland on purpose to give him that drive and that hunger to show everyone that passed on him, and obviously show the Cleveland Browns that you made the right decision, even to beat everybody. He might not be Flacco out.
Flacco gonna have 350, 3 touchdowns, but 3 picks too now. Now Flacco here, he'll equal opportunity employer. He gonna help you, he gonna help me.
Tom, do you think a college kid needs a Phantom like a Rolls Royce?
Nah. Hey, no, it's not a Phantom. It's a Rolls Royce Cullinan.
I think he needs to get his ass in the film room and spend as much time in there as possible.
Thank you,
less
Tom.
time in the car and more time in the film room.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate
And I
that.
seen you had one too, Tom. Don't think I seen you.
I was just a rental. Hey, I had a few bucks in my pocket at that point. I'll see some car stories when we're together next time.
See, if you say the F word, then it's like you really mean it. You're really passionate about it. You can say whatever the fuck you want and get away with it, said Tom to Jake Paul. And he concluded, it used to be a lot of integrity in the media. Well, I've been in the media for that was my first year out of Vanderbilt. I started at the Miami Herald in 1974, so it's been a while. I'd like to say I've had a lot of integrity. I'd like to say that I work really hard at telling the truth and backing it up. That's what I do and what I've done for these however many years it's been. I did have Deion on my show. I do know Deion. I do keep in touch with people in that circle. And I'm just telling you that the league decided to teach Deion and in turn Shedeur a lesson. And it all started when Deion was on the Dan Patrick radio TV show, obviously from Radio Row in New Orleans before the Super Bowl, and he made the statements about he might go Archie Manning on the top of the draft, navigate his son, orchestrate, tell some teams that no, we're not interested in playing for you. We're going to go here. Just the way Archie Manning did for Eli, obviously, as he navigated Eli from San Diego to the Giants. And I kept hearing, just too brash, just too arrogant. Both, Father, it's like chip off the old block, that this is Neon Deion all over again. I'm telling you, this kid can play. I've been doing this for a long time. He can play. But now, Tom, of course, you're part of the NFL power structure. You're an owner as well as a broadcaster, and I worked at Fox for 8 years, and I didn't appreciate the fact that you bullied them, you bigfooted them. They'd given you what was it, $375 million for 10 years, and then all of a sudden you yank the magic carpet out from under them and say, well, I also want to be an owner, which means you'll be handicapped as a broadcaster because your access will be limited to teams because you're an owner. Okay, so you did that, and yet the last thing you said that I read was about the negative media. You said, actually, it probably hurts a lot of relationships, which is not the goal of broadcasting. So wait a second. Hurts a lot of relationships. I don't really understand that one. What? So are you asking me and all those other negative media voices to protect you so that you can stay close to Shedeur and to Deion? Obviously, you can kind of fake it with them and give them that phony smile and act like everything's hunky-dory, when you did veto Shedeur to your team 7 times they passed. And you can then say to Shedeur, I have no idea what happened. I don't get it, but hey, man, you got to stay the course. You got to do just what I did. You got to go to work. You got to get in the film room. You got to show them that they're wrong. This will be great for you. You can say all that to Shedeur and be that smiling assassin that you were. And by the way, I've said this from the start. There are always 2 Tom Bradys. Did I ever love the football killer Tom Brady? I called him Psycho Tom. He was the GOAT, clutchest ever. I've said it from the start. Tom, you were 80% of the reason that the Patriots were a dynasty. I'll give Belichick, 10% of it. But you were it, and boy, did Psycho Tom ever come out publicly one time at the end of that Brady roast on Netflix when you roasted Belichick. I mean, you emasculated him, brought down the house and the curtain right on Belichick's head that night. Loved it. Wish we could get a little of that from Tom, the NFL broadcaster, but we can't, because there's that alter ego. It's aw shucks, gee whiz, nice guy Tom, wants everybody to love him. It's the broadcaster who just nice guys us all to death with your cliches and your platitudes, and sidestepping the truth, trying to sort of paint everything perfectly. It's all going to be okay. I just wish you'd just tell the truth. Just let it fly. I know there's so much more inside you, Tom, that you could tell that you don't. But all I know for sure right now is this is what I hope for Shedeur. I remain a big fan, even though I'm taking a beating about this from people I know, people who say I'm wrong. Wait, everybody had at least a 2nd round grade. Why did he fall to the 5th? I'm just hoping that now Shedeur Sanders will make Tom Brady look almost as stupid as Tom Brady made the entire NFL look. That's what I'm hoping will happen, because you know that every word I just spoke was obviously the truth.
Drafted. That's Shedeur. You guys, went to the pro day, got to know him a little bit. Just wondering your thoughts on why he hasn't been drafted, and any thoughts on...
Hey, listen, we sat there, I watched right behind him throwing and watching the receivers. He had an outstanding pro day. This thing is it's surprising. It's there's nothing that ever takes place during this period of time that surprises you. Last year, we had a plan B, quarterback and shoot. We thought second round, and he went. I think we all are surprised, and yet the talent. Holy cow! I think you would, if you're a team that needs a quarterback, and we kind of know at the start of the draft who those teams are, but you're getting. Now again, I saw him when he was in junior high, and then I saw him when he was in high school, and then I saw him when he was a sophomore in high school come practice on their way to Florida. And so I've had a chance, and I've known Deion, and I felt like I grew up watching him play, and he's gonna, like, there'll be this chip on his shoulder, and beware, because this guy's going to play in this league. And but I think it's hard for any of us to explain what other people are looking for. We focus on what we're looking for, and I think it's surprising.
Noise with your with some stuff you were saying about things you felt about Shedeur Sanders in the NFL, kind of like making him a pariah, kind of blackballing him a little bit. After seeing what's been going on for the last couple weeks, do you feel like that stands?
Yeah, I didn't make that up. That's true.
That's true.
That's true. That's a true statement. I mean, I got it from an inside source. The guy who works for the National Football League. He got it from inside the league. Yeah, I mean, look, it's different for us. I'm just gonna say that, black players, we can't speak out like some of the white players. Nothing against the white players. It's not even about that. We both have the same struggles. I mean, we really do. So it's just sometimes they want to make a statement, to show you that, you're not all that. I know they don't care for his dad. And I think Deion's a great guy. Deion tries to help these young men become men, not boys. And I just felt like it was wrong what they did to him. I mean, look, Mel Kiper said in 30 years he hadn't seen nothing like this.
Right.
I mean, so, it was something to that. I mean, I know when something's done wrong. I mean, we all know. I mean, all of us talked about it, but nothing we could do about it.
Some news recently came out, a report that he basically didn't want to go to Baltimore, and that he didn't want to sit behind.
Why all of a sudden this comes out?
Lamar.
Why all of a sudden this comes out now? This is after the fact. I don't believe that. I mean, I know that came from I forgot the reporter's name, but I don't believe that. I mean, it's possible, but I just don't believe that. I mean, that would have came out early. I mean,
would any quarterback in his right mind be like, hey, I know you have to sit behind the best in the game, but according to some, I mean, he's the MVP, but wouldn't you learn so much too?
You would learn a lot. I mean, it'd make him a better quarterback. I mean, look, a lot of these guys, to me, they throw them in there too fast or too soon. But I mean, that's the age we're in right now. They want the number one pick to play right away, the quarterback. Some of them aren't ready. That's why some of them fail. And it depends on what team you go to. I mean, if you go to a team like the Browns, I mean, honestly, that's not a good football team. I hate to see him. I wish they would have cut him. They didn't have an opportunity at a better football team because, I mean, the Browns have had so many first round picks and screwed it up. I mean, that's a bad football team. I mean, they were bad when I played. I mean, they were decent. I think they were pretty good, but they're horrible.
So what do you think the move for Shedeur is at this point? Do you hope he gets cut? That way he can move on?
I don't wish that for anybody. that's for the Browns. That's for Shedeur. That's for them to do. I mean, I don't think he's gonna get a fair shot there. I don't, because I don't think they really wanted him. I don't think the coach wanted him. They should have fired him too. But I just, I'm not a Browns fan, at all. So I could care less. But I mean, I'm a Shedeur fan. I'm a Deion Sanders fan.
What would you say is the most misunderstood thing about Shedeur that people get wrong publicly?
That he's selfish, that he's arrogant, and that it's all about him. Couldn't be more wrong. Most selfish person ever. And I feel bad for him sometimes, because I always tell him that, like, bro, we've put you in some bad spots throughout your life, bro, since I've been around, like, and you've never complained, you've never pointed the finger, you've never said, man, it's y'all fault. And he's turned around everything we put him in position to do. We gave him the worst situation ever, and he's always turned it around. And at the end of the day, we were able to progress, to go from place to place, city to city, job to job. And at the end of the day, all he got to show for is a bunch of scars and being the most sacked quarterback in the country. And he never complained. One time, never said, man, why did y'all do this? He never questioned anything, and he carries it like a champ. So for me, I think for to say that he's selfish, man, I always tell man, that's the most giving, most selfless person that you'll ever give. So when you got somebody that's leading your locker room, like you can't go wrong with a guy like that, because he'll get a shirt off his back.
Hi, Shedeur. Congratulations on becoming a Cleveland Brown, first of all. But just wanted to ask you, can you please put into words somehow just the emotional roller coaster that you have been on since the first day of this draft and waiting for this to happen, including a nasty prank call that everyone can agree was a horrible thing, to finally getting that phone call from the Browns and jumping in the pool?
Yeah, I would say I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity throughout everything. I don't ever focus on the negative or even think about the negative, because the positive happens so fast, and it's a change of emotions. For me, it was just playing quarterback. That's what it's about. You can't be up too low or anything. You gotta be able to celebrate. So when we score a touchdown, we celebrate for a little bit. Now it's back to, it's time to work, it's time to go. So that's all it is a football game to me, and that's how I view it. That's my personality. Is I would say, level through adversity and level through everything, any situation I'm faced with, because I know what it's going to require for me to come out on top.
Hi, Shedeur. This is Ashley Bastak from Cleveland.com. I wanted to talk to you about that, because I know you bring up how adversity fuels you a lot. So, I mean, just knowing so many analysts had you pegged as first or second round talent to fall to day 3, how is going when you went in the draft going to motivate you think, going forward in your NFL career?
Yeah, I don't feel like I feel like talent is everywhere throughout the draft. It's about just being picked and who sees your value. That's pretty much it, because it's a lot of valuable players that go, in the rounds after the first and second. So I'm a product of one of those, and I understand you can't really categorize, I'll say, my talent. I just got to prove and show what I'm capable of. But what fuels me is my purpose in life, and understanding the route that's now that we're gonna have to take. Understanding that I was able to get an opportunity when a lot of people didn't want to give me an opportunity. So that's what I'm truly thankful for. So that's what fuels me.
Hey, Shedeur, this is Daniel Oyefusi with ESPN. I just wanted to get your thoughts on specifically coming to Cleveland to play for the Browns. I know that this was an organization that you spent a lot of time with during the pre-draft process, and now it's official that you are coming here, but maybe a little later than you expected. So how do you think you're going to fit in with this team and with this organization?
I know I'm going to fit in perfectly. I feel like it's first getting in, showing the respect to the vets, showing them, I'm here ready to work, show the coaches and have them understand, I'm here ready to work. So they could actually understand the real me. That's what I'm truly thankful to have, is the opportunity for people to actually see the real me and not be able to see, stuff that could be true or not. So that's what I'm most excited about, being in the building, and of course in the staff, and on the staff and the cafeteria, everything was extremely, the people there were genuine. It was real cool. So I left that visit knowing that if that was the place for me, I would feel real comfortable with what they have in place.
Hey, Shedeur, Christy Stroniak and Beacon Journal. I know you've been asked a million questions about your dad over the years, but you know, obviously his experience in this specific business and in pro football, as you were going through the last couple of days and going through this, you know, seeing, kind of waiting your turn, waiting for your name to go, what was sort of his advice to you? Was there anything he sort of said to you, or were things sort of understood just, you know, between you and him, you know, just about what was going on?
He said, "God got us." So that's what it is. I look at what went on, and everything is a football game. You know, you may not come out early hot. You know, that may not happen, but you know, when it's down to the final 2 minutes of the game, then you understand the level of seriousness raises the stakes, all the stakes raised, and that's why I thrive in those high pressure moments. So I never felt any type of way. I understood, okay, this is the route, and that's it.
Shedeur, with that, what kind of burden was it being the son of Deion, and that you were not just a regular player here in college football?
Well, it's never a burden. I wouldn't look at that as that. I feel like God makes everybody have their own routes, and this is just my route. Like, it's nothing I would be able to go back and wish that wasn't my dad, because I'm truly thankful for him being there and the structure I have. So it's never really a burden. I just find it, you know, that other kids in similar situations, I want them to be proud of what their fathers and what they have accomplished. So then you could carry on the legacy, carry on the family name, and not really be trying to feel ashamed about it. I don't like when people make people feel ashamed about it.
Shedeur, Cameron Justice, News 5 Cleveland here. You're going to get in here, just get to work in a couple weeks, rookie mini camp. What's your mindset heading into this organization with that mini camp around the corner and the anticipated quarterback competition for that starting role in this upcoming season?
Get there and handle my business. Do what I have to do, whatever role that is. You know, I'm just thankful for an opportunity, so that's all I can ask for. The rest is on me.
Hey, Shedeur, congratulations. You said earlier that you want people here with the Browns to see the real you. You're coming to a new franchise and fan base and city, so what can you tell people about what they will see? What is the real you?
The real me, I'm definitely going to be able to show it with actions. Actions more, and you'll understand I'll be more involved in, you know, the community and really the leading the kids in the right direction. That's the main thing. Whatever situation they're in, that's really where I feel like I have the most impact on, is really the kids, and giving them a different perspective of respect. Parents respect their elders and respect those people that are in position to give you advice. So that's where you'll see the most impact there. And of course, within the building, and you know, just making sure everybody is comfortable with whatever situation anything is. So that's how I make everybody feel comfortable and them understand I'm not, you know, just here to talk about it. I'm here to prove it.
Shedeur, you've been around the game a long time, and you know, learning of the business, especially through your father. And while you've said repeatedly that you've kept the faith, does your experience the last couple of days maybe change your outlook on the business of football or how things are done behind the scenes?
Excuse me, you can say that one more time? I couldn't hear it clear.
Yeah, sure. Hopefully you can hear me a little better now. I was saying that you have been around the game. You've been around the game a long time and learning of the business of football. And while you've said that you keep the faith, I was wondering if your experience the last couple of days changes your outlook on the business of football or how things are done behind the scenes, seeing if how they affected you the last couple of days.
No, nothing really affected me the last couple of days. To just really push having faith and understanding. God really had me, and I'm favored. I'm blessed. Besides that, it's not really anything that changed. The love of the game is still the game. When you get on the field, it wasn't too much, negativity being said. I know I got to clean up some things in my game for me to be at my best, but that's what I take each off season one at a time and fix it. So I think that was just outside of football getting in the way, but therefore I have an opportunity now. Then we're about to get on grass really soon.
Hey Shedeur, congratulations. This is Spencer German, Cleveland Browns on SI. Just throughout this entire process, you've been pretty open about, some of the comments made about you and different things that have been said. So given how that all went, given how this weekend went, going to the fifth round, do you come into the league feeling like you have a lot to prove, even though you try to stay pretty positive and above the negativity?
Yeah, of course. It's the main thing. I'm just proving Coach Stefanski and Mr. Berry that they are right. That's it. They're right about picking me. That I'm a good decision. I'm a good draft pick for them to be able to come in there and do what I need to do.
Shedeur, do you have any regrets about anything in the pre-draft process?
Do I have any regrets? I feel like in life, it's always a way I can improve. So it's always in different areas I'm able to improve. And some things that, I could have done at the time that seemed right at the time, I could have went about it a different way. And that was like more during the season and stuff like that. Yeah.
Shedeur, Justin Cooper here, ESPN Cleveland. Hey, wanted to ask you what that moment was like between you and your dad. Obviously, you wanted to go higher up in the draft, but weren't able to do that. And after falling, I'm sure it was probably relief. And what was that like for you two, and what was the embrace like?
I don't know if me and Dak hugged, but it was more of just understanding that the main thing is just getting the opportunity. That's why I preach on that. That's why I stand on that, because that was my main goal. After we watched, the first, second round go by, and my name wasn't called or anything, it was like, okay, all we need is opportunity. So it really didn't matter what pick, what round, could have went anything.
Shedeur writer from 92.3 The Fan. Everywhere you've gone in football, you've been able to turn around and elevate programs. What is it about you that gives you that ability? And I know being a fifth-round pick, those expectations might not be fair in this particular moment, but also what would it mean for you to come to Cleveland and potentially work your way into becoming this franchise's long-lost franchise quarterback?
I'm a Sanders, so it's always going to be expectations regardless of what pick I am.
Shedeur, you mentioned that nothing has bothered you over the past couple of days. I actually have two questions real quick. The first question is, did that prank phone call, did that not get to you, or how do you feel about the person who did that to you, and what impact did that have on you when that happened today?
It didn't really have no impact on me, because it was just like, okay, like I don't feed into negativity, or I don't feed into that stuff. Like you seen on Deion Jr.'s well-off YouTube video, my reaction to it. This is what it is. I think of course the dude was childish. Of course I feel like it was a childish act, but everybody do childish things here and there. So
Okay, and then my second question is, there was a lot of talk throughout the pre-draft process that you were, brash and arrogant, and that you were not interviewing well, and you weren't coming off right in some of those interviews. Do you feel like did any of those things actually happen? And do you think that is what cost you some draft status?
I think what happened was I had a great interview and great process with the Browns, and that's why they was able to pick me. So anything outside the organization is really a non-factor to me now, because this was my focus and this was where my mind is, just doing everything I can to make the team better. So everything outside of that, the opinions don't really matter.
Shedeur, when the Browns drafted Dillon Gabriel yesterday, did you think it was possible you'd end up in Cleveland?
Nah, I wasn't really watching at that point in time.
Shedeur, as you look at this Browns roster, what gets you excited when you look at the offensive side of the ball?
Say it one more time.
So when you look at this roster and how it's currently constructed, what gets you excited about the offense side of the ball?
I would say the system, the offense. I would say the receivers, the running backs. I would say the O-line. It's really I want to be able to get in there and meet all these different personalities, and even the corner, even Denzel Ward. Was pretty cool. He reached out, and Kenny reached out too. So it's really just getting around the people and being able to live in the building.
I don't know what the hell happened. All I know is this: it's freaking unfair. It ain't right. I understand that Shedeur Sanders is a kid and may have some things to learn. I understand that you have to move a little bit with a little bit more discretion. That you don't want to stick out your chest and bloviate about who you are, who your daddy is, and et cetera, et cetera. I get that part. I understand that. But the kid doesn't get in any trouble. He can ball, and he's healthy. And there were numerous teams from Cleveland to New York, to New Orleans, to Pittsburgh, to LA, and various other places who needed quarterbacks. And you're going to tell me you don't take this kid until the 5th round? You're going to tell me that you're going to take a Dillon Gabriel and a Tyler Shook before him? You're going to tell me that? But we want to pride ourselves on being a league of merit? To the National Football League, I'm not talking about Roger Goodell in the league office, to the owners, do you have any idea how bad you look? Do you understand that you've given credence to arguments against you involving collusion and stuff like that, more so than ever before? Do you realize what you've done? Because his talent is not a 5th round talent. There's absolutely positively no excuse for waiting until the 5th round to take a quarterback who can play better than most quarterbacks available in the draft with the number of teams needing a quarterback. Y'all did this. For him to have to go through that is so wrong. And I know it's not just the owners, it's team executives, and they're micromanaging every little thing and looking at your attitude. It can't be about you. It can't be about team. How about it being about production? How about that? How about it being about a brother that knows he can play, that knows he comes from a pristine pedigree? And me personally, no matter what folks want to say about Shedeur Sanders, he's a young adult. Chill out. What really bothers me is that I think a lot of this was because of Deion Sanders. I think a lot of this was about a message to his father. I think a lot of this was about, Hey, you'll never run this. This is us. We ain't even hire you as a coach in the National Football League. What makes you think you gonna have that kind of say? Oh, by the way, we hire, we draft your son, and then all of a sudden we gonna hear noise turning around on how you want to coach the team eventually. We don't need that kind of problem. Yeah, that's one of the things that people could point to. Let me tell y'all what I think the other is. A complete and utter lack of appreciation for what primetime Deion Sanders has done for the game of football. Primetime Deion Sanders had more swag, more bravado than anybody you could ever imagine. What else he do? All the brother did was go out there and perform at a very, very elite level, bring pizzazz and sizzle to your product, helping it grow into this multi-billion-dollar brand. Has a great relationship with the commissioner, has a great relationship with a bevy of players and coaches in the National Football League, knows the sport backwards and forwards. And because of his swag and his bravado or whatever, y'all gonna turn against him. How about y'all should have drafted Shedeur Sanders earlier because of that alone? I'm not talking about at the expense of his skill. I know he's got to have skill. That's not what I mean. I'm saying rather than look at all of those things as a negative, how about looking at it as a positive? You got a primetime Deion Sanders. His son is going to be motivated to perform at a higher level. He is all about performing at a higher level. He would be in his son's ear, imploring him to listen to his coaches, imploring him to play better, imploring him to be dedicated and focused and on point. Did you ever think about that? Of course not. Because, ladies and gentlemen, as times change, they remain the same.
Extra. This shit is hard.
Young kid, privileged to be raised by a father who's universally recognized one of the greatest athletes the world has ever seen, and a champion, by the way. He's still black. We don't like his brashness. We don't like his absence of humility. We got to teach him a lesson because we got to make sure he understands under all circumstances we still run this. We're the bosses, and we can put our foot on your neck any damn time we want to. That's what happened to Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders over the last few days, spanning 5 rounds and 143 picks. That's what happened. It was a check hook. Stay in your lane. Know your position. This is the National Football League. You ain't running a damn thing this way. You will be humble. You will conduct yourself with humility. Nothing is given to you. Everything is earned. And even then, we'll decide whether we want to give it to you or not. That's how they treated Shedeur Sanders. And I find it very, very difficult to believe that the people who would do that would feel the need to have the energy to do this to a kid straight out of college. That kind of energy, that kind of message, that insatiable appetite to send and cement that kind of imprint on this young man has to be, at least to some degree, about his father. And let me tell y'all something about Deion Sanders real quick. He is confident as hell, supremely so. There's very little you could tell him because the brother is smart, he's studied, he's learned, and he's sincere with what comes out of his mouth. But I'm going to tell y'all something about Deion Sanders real quick. For the moment, I don't give a damn about his greatness as a player. I want to tell you about him as a man. He is a great man. Is he always right? No. Does he always say the right thing? No, he does not. Was it wise for him to sit up there and indicate that his son will be, he ain't gonna be someplace where his son ain't gonna be someplace where he doesn't want him to be before the NFL draft? No, that was not wise. But what he's meant to the NFL, what he's meant to professional athletes, as young men on the come up, in the lives that he has touched along the way, and how much better he has assisted in helping the NFL become because of it. He deserved better than this. Shedeur Sanders, in my opinion, was targeted because primetime Deion Sanders was targeted. He'll be all right because he has a strong faith in God, just like primetime Deion Sanders, his daddy, has taught him to have. But I'm speaking to all of y'all out there as a man who knows primetime Deion Sanders, who's a friend of Deion Sanders, who Deion Sanders has reached out and touched and imparted words of wisdom and support and strong love at times, tough love at times, with yours truly. He is a great man. What happened to Shedeur Sanders, in part, not totally, but in part, was a direct assault on Deion Sanders. He did not deserve this. His son didn't deserve it. His play didn't deserve this. His production didn't deserve this. His projected skill set didn't deserve this. His accomplishment didn't deserve this. And his pedigree didn't deserve it. Because say what you will about Deion Sanders, he has never taken from the game. He has only given to it. And for Shedeur Sanders to be treated like this, I found myself so sad. It's America at its worst. It's the powers that be showing you that old adage that I ripped from Mission Impossible #1, when they were looking for Tom Cruise's character Ethan Hunt, and they turned around and said, this ain't complicated. You find their soft spot and you squeeze. You can't touch primetime Deion Sanders. You can't shake his confidence, his innate belief in himself and what he's doing and how to go about doing it. So to rattle him, you targeted his son. That is my opinion. But when 32 teams select to pass on a quarterback that was projected as a top 2 quarterback in the entire draft for nearly 5 complete rounds, that ain't about football. That's about
coach of a top 7 picking team said he was brash and arrogant.
Stop, man. Stop. I guess just because the last name is Sanders, you got to attack it. That don't make sense because we've never attacked anybody in our life. It didn't anger me, but you know me, I'm going to get to the bottom of it. So I called that team because I tracked it down. I knew who it was, and I called the head coach. We were really cool. And he said, Prime, that never happened. He said, matter of fact, it was a great interview. We all walked out of there saying, dang, this kid got it. You never know if somebody's getting compensated from another agent to try to down hour so another guy
looks possible. Some quarterback coach of
I'll explain this. Let's go back to the question you asked a few minutes ago. With some of those interviews, I would say it wasn't the lack of professionalism or being unprepared. He's never been unprepared. I think it was more so of a young kid getting comfortable and building a relationship with someone and probably trusting them a little too much and going into a room with his guard down, not understand like, man, this is a job interview still, and they trying to pick you apart. Because you got to think the Giants and those teams, man, they've been in Boulder more than anybody. They've been there so much that almost to the point where he feel like, man, oh, we good. They have certain conversations off camera.
That's like, a good point.
Man, it's so now when I go in that room, it's these my people. Yeah, we good.
I never thought about it that. I never like if I'm like that's not the first time they ever met. Now I'm going back and forth. They've been there 2 years since I was junior. Yeah. We talked, laughed, and joked about stuff.
You told me I'm your guy.
Yeah, and then then it's kind of like, but like you said, that's how it is in interviews. You got to remember at all times they testing you and people's watching. So I never considered that, but I can see where that could go wrong a little bit.
And then you got some other interviews where he wasn't as close with some of the guys. You don't get those reports because he's going in those with a different mindset of, okay, I gotta act a certain, talk a certain way because I don't know them as well.
Yeah. So let me ask you though, the one thing that happened, you probably wasn't there, but obviously the prank. The prank.
I was there.
You was there for the prank?
I walked there right on it.
How did you feel about that? And like why do you, how do you think he reacted to those things?
I was hot.
I'm sure you
I was steam coming out my ears. And again, I look over at him and he, phone hung up. He just keep it rolling. He just cut the music back on. He grabbed the football. He got with his quarterback coach. He got in the field. He started throwing. Playing catch. And I'm just sitting, I'm over there just like, why would they do that? I'm just trying to process this in the moment.
Yeah.
And he just over there throwing the ball, playing catch. And he come sit back down, and then go on, move on, continue watching the draft. He never wavered, bro. Never.
I think for me, it's just I love seeing it. I love seeing the competitiveness. I love seeing. I think one thing we all in Prime was like this. Fitzy was like this. We were out there for one reason, to win. We were no other reason. And as best you could dominate, there was never a play you took off. There was never a moment that wasn't too big. And I love seeing when people go out there to compete. That's ultimately what the game's all about. In some ways, I think, the competition, Mike Tyson wasn't trying to make friends. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, they weren't trying to make friends. You're out there to do a job. Tiger Woods wasn't trying to make friends. We weren't trying to make friends. And I love when I see other people like that, man, I relate to them so much more than the guys hugging on the field and pregame. And, man, get that out of here. I was just trying to, that was a bunch of BS for me. I was never trying to love anyone up. I was trying to go, I'm going to kill you today is what I'm going to do.
It was always personal, Tommy?
Prime said it best.
They made it personal, Jim. They make it personal.
They make it personal, but it was
they
always
made it personal.
It was always somewhat personal. You have relationships outside the game that transcends, but like Shedeur does a great job of making it personal. Our kids on the team, they do a great job of making it personal. So if they give me that little thread that I could pull, to connect all of them, I'm going to find it and I'm going to put it and I'm going to make it that way to just give them that extra because, these are college kids, man. They got so much going on in personal lives, so we got to really find something that connects everyone in the locker room. And we tend to do it every week.
Coach, I know you grew up watching a guy coach and this just came to my mind. How much Muhammad Ali do you have in you? You make it so much fun, but boy, you're serious when you have to be.
Yeah, you know what? I have one picture in my weight room back in Texas. It says, all I did was stand for what I believed. And that was from Muhammad Ali. And I got the opportunity to meet him and congregate with him once at this function in Arizona. And, I downplayed it, but it was like, shoot, Ali was it to me. He was everything to me. And it's so funny that you meet your hero and he waved me into his room, had this big suite, and he said, you like godly man, right? Yeah. I said, yeah. He's come on in here. And he had this stack of papers about like the inconsistencies of the Bible, right? And he would say something like, okay, in this it says this. What is it? How did I was just explaining the stuff to him and we was like going back and forth at it. But to think that the time I get to sit with my hero, that's what we were discussing, the Bible and different things of that nature. And it was a beautiful thing, man, because I grew up on Ali and he was my guy. I'm just not on the field, but off the field, he played a tremendous role in society. So he was my guy.
Coach, on that same subject, I know you talked a lot about Coach Mickey Andrews and how he's played such an important role. And what did you learn from him that you still use that you learned from college?
No excuses. The standard is the standard, and the standard don't change. I don't care what guy comes in that door in my office, the standard don't change. The standard is going to be the standard, and we work that butts off. See, that's the old school principles. Larry, you weren't Larry with that to work, and Tom, I know darn well what he did, how he worked. Even Jim worked his butt off to be where he is. Our work ethic pretty much catapulted us to where we are, and that's something that Shedeur has always seen even in my retirement, I made it. I mandated that they never just see me lay around or they beat me up. I beat them up. I was already working out. I was getting on their butt, and whoever didn't get it, they had consequences. But I never want to see I would never want my kids to see me lazy or laying around. Like I ain't play that, man. Never. And it takes all my power away from him, from me, when I'm laying around and I'm telling him to get up and go get it. That never happens, man.
I think too, the two aspects that I see, like the work ethic and the ability to learn.
Right.
I think those two traits, which are very intangible, but like they go to the NFL Combine and how good so-and-so going to be and what's does he work hard and does the ability to have people around him that teach him and can he use those things to elevate himself? That should be recruiting for kids in college. That could be, recruiting guys to play pro. That could be working in whatever, job we have in America. Do you have a work ethic? And everybody loves dealing with those types of people, because Prime, you go in there and you're looking at all these young guys and you're there and look, you're bringing this sense of urgency and no excuses. And you want to see them work. You want to see what commitment they're willing to pay the price. All right, everybody wants to win. Who's willing to pay the price to do all the things that it takes to win? That's a whole different group of people. Shedeur's done that. A lot of the guys you brought, they're willing to do what you ask. And I think a lot of players, if you find the right guys, they do. I mean, we always wanted to. I always worked hard for the coach. I wanted it. And the harder he pushed me, the harder I went. If he wanted to treat Wednesday like a Sunday, I was ready to go. So they're gonna do what you ask them to do. Shedeur, for you, the more you push those guys, the more they're gonna be willing to do. Because in the end, they're gonna want your validation with your receivers. So I always the guys you find that you really connect with, you push them hard, and then you see how far they're willing to go. And then you're really going to know who you got out there with you. Then late in the game, Deb, this is the guy I need in the game because I know what this guy's all about. And I pushed him hard and he kept meeting the challenge. He kept stepping up. He wants this as much as I do. In the end, those are the guys that you want in the huddle with you when it matters the most. So the harder you push them, the more they respond. Great. And then you reach another level. Then you push and you reach another level. So you can't ever back off that intensity because it's there year round, and you're doing it right now during the season, but off season's the same way. Let's see what price they're willing to pay for that success, because in the end, when you do succeed, it's always worth it. Whatever you did, you never look back going, man, we won the Super Bowl, but God, we spent too much time practicing that year. No, man, you remember one thing. You remember the Super Bowl, you win the practice, the World Series. That's what you remember. You don't remember all the other stuff.
Hey, Shedeur, what is it about your dad that enables him to be able to relate to all these young guys, all you guys, all the time? Keep them laughing, get the best out of the work ethic, make them determined, make them better. How does he relate to guys your age so well?
I would say because he has kids, because he has us, and we're going to tell him straight up, like, come on, Dad, that you're going too far now. This is outrageous. And he's able to read the room and just know when people, have the energy and is there mentally and who's not there mentally. And
so he listens to you?
Has to be serious. Yeah, he listens some. Well, no, actually, he started listening a lot. Listening a lot lately.
He thinks he's the dad sometimes. Like on the field, he knows his role. But off the field, he thinks he's the dad sometimes. He thinks he knows best for me. But he thinks he's me.
No, it's just I got a certain vision, and sometimes when you in the moment, you're not able to see the bigger picture. So I'm able to see the bigger picture for him.
Yeah.
And,
Where did you hear that from? Where did you hear that?
I don't know. I just came up with it.
Is he going up in the rankings right now, Coach Prime, or is he going down?
He rocks steady. He rocks steady. That's one thing about it. He rocks steady. He don't the moment. The life he don't get caught up in that, and that's one thing I love about him. That all this media and this hype, he's been around this all his life, so he don't trip when it comes to that. He understands it, and that's something that we're trying to make sure the team understands, because you got a lot of guys. One of the first things I do, I want the guys to stand up. If you won in youth league, if you won in high school, junior, I want to know how many guys won. How many guys won? So coaches as well, because now when we start doing what we know we're going to do, I can't have these guys changing moods with the moments. No. Because they never won, and they're not used to the tension, they're not used to the light, they're not used to the clapping and some of them aren't used to it. And those are the guys I got to stay on. The guys that have always won and always been that guy, I don't have to worry about them.
I just love seeing the two of them together and I've had that chance in person too, but it's such a unique thing. And I know, from being around my dad, I learned so much from my dad. And, Shedeur, what have you learned from your dad, and Prime, what have you learned from your son, that the one thing where you're like, wow, this Shedeur, this is what my dad taught me. I know there's probably 1,000 things, but one that just comes to mind in Prime, my son, what did he teach me?
Well, I feel like I kind of hit my ceiling with him now, a little bit. And what he taught me is understanding slant flat is not good for cover two. That's definitely. Hey, he used to call that so many times.
No, it was a window. It was always first of all, in high school, son, they were 20 yards back. Okay, that's what the system was. We taught the span and we was out of there. Let's just get that straight. Right. So you can't create bad. You can't create bad habits. They ask you what's the good things. They didn't ask you the ignorant things. What's the good things that you learned? That was the question.
Listen, when you got slant flat call and you see cover two, give that inside guy a slant, and then let him take that inside guy and get that nice hold of that outside receiver.
There you go.
I'll say I don't know. It's a lot of things that I just learned from him, and that really I grew up on, so to just make me who I am today. So I can't say it's like a specific thing, because it's multiple, like life lessons, life experiences that he let me know about. So it's really hard to just pinpoint one.
Yeah, for sure.
I put him up on game early, but Shedeur has taught me patience with others as well. Like, I don't expect anyone to come in and be as fine-tuned as he is, because you got to understand, most quarterbacks hadn't started every game in high school. They hadn't started every game in college. So he's played a lot of football. So I have patience with others, and I've learned in life not to. That's why they always say great players will never be great coaches. I think that's a lie. I mean, it just depends on what they want to do, what they put into it. I don't expect me to be in that guy. I expect me to get the best out of that guy. And the deal I made with my kids when they were shorties is, you don't have to be the best on the team. And Shedeur was never the best athlete. He might have been the best player on some teams, but he was never the best athlete. But he gave me his best, and he was a bona fide leader from day one. In my phones, his name is in there under Grown. He's been a grown man. That's what I've always called him. That's his nickname, Grown. So he's always been mature, but I've learned not to expect me to get the best out of them.
Love it.
And that's what I learned, especially with him. One question before I go, Tom. Do you think a college kid needs a phantom, like a roll?
I think he needs to get his ass in the film room and spend as much time in there as possible, and less time in the car and more time in the film room.
It's not a phantom. It's a Rolls Royce Cousin. Seeing you had one too, Tom. Don't think I seen you.
I was just a rental. Hey, I had a few bucks in my pocket at that point.
Ago, reports surfaced that an anonymous NFL coach whose team is picking in the top 7 claimed Shedeur came off as brash and arrogant during a team interview. Former ESPN reporter and NFL insider Josina Anderson was the one who leaked this in a post on X, and she defended Shedeur, writing, "I am disappointed to hear that a quarterback's coach from a team drafting in the top 7 referred to Shedeur Sanders as coming off brash and arrogant in his team interview and making his assessment known to a number of people, per source. I'm purposely not naming the team, as not to directly call the team out. I'm just sharing that this coach's personal assessment is the direct opposite from how Sanders came across to many reporters in his press conference with the media at the Combine. Sanders appeared to go out of his way to acknowledge multiple media members, regardless if they were recognizable or not. He seemed cordial, polite, witty, and thoughtful, along with being confident, as many athletes are. Alternately, these observations were distinctly different from how another quarterback prospect came off to some in the media last year in Indy. Josina also said that according to league sources, this coach, who called Shedeur brash and arrogant, also said he has an issue with the culture of athletes who have broad fame and financial success before entering the NFL. But Josina pushed back and added, hopefully any potential biases towards the culture are being checked at the door, as not to unduly impact stock in business. The modern-day college athlete is evolving, as is the scale of business and opportunities surrounding them before entering professional leagues. But more insiders later came forward claiming they heard the same thing about coaches and owners feeling like Shedeur was too full of himself. According to Fox Sports, Todd McShay, a longtime draft analyst, claimed he heard from two teams that they felt Shedeur was acting like he didn't care about what they thought of him in a way that wasn't a professional approach. Shedeur being passed over felt like Colin Kaepernick level collusion on the part of the NFL. And Stephen A. agreed with this take, writing, "Someone just texted me this message, and they are absolutely correct. This is a bad look for the NFL. This feels like Kaepernick level collusion. All the hard work the NFL league office puts into eradicating these kinds of perceptions, only to turn around and watch as the owners look like they're colluding, messing up everything. What has been done to Shedeur will outshine everything else in this draft. We'll never believe this is about just talent evaluation again." Meanwhile, former Democratic Congressman Jamal Bowman also agreed on this take and claimed that the NFL and America are afraid of Shedeur Sanders because he's a strong black man. Bowman shared a video of himself talking about the draft pick, and he captioned it, "The NFL doesn't like Shedeur Sanders because he wears gold chains and talks like a rapper. They don't care that he's a leader, intelligent, tough, and completed 77% of his passes with no O-line and no running game. He's entitled, but Eli Manning wasn't entitled when he refused to be drafted by San Diego. He's not athletic, but that didn't stop Joe Montana, Drew Brees, or Tom Brady. America continues to fear strong black men who come from means and have a strong sense of themselves without submitting to the dominant culture." But some fans pushed back on this argument, saying that Bowman isn't making any sense. One user replied to Bowman, "Race baiting is who are siding with Stephen A. Smith, and saying the NFL clearly has double standards when it comes to labeling athletes as entitled or arrogant." Many fans and commentators have pointed out how white quarterbacks with similar confidence or bold personalities are often praised as competitive or leaders, while black players with the same energy are criticized as arrogant or difficult. One fan wrote, "People acting as if Shedeur Sanders' attitude is what caused him to fall is hilarious. Baker Mayfield was an effing menace in college and went first overall. Hate Shedeur all you want, but he's obviously being blackballed." And someone else added, "Shedeur is a confident black quarterback from a great home with a supportive and present Hall of Famer father. When a black kid isn't timid and from the ghetto, they label him as having an ego and pass on him. I can't wait for him to pay his disrespect back with Super Bowls. SMFH."
Sports. Although this is a big story that's a little bit bigger than sports, it cuts to some, I think, social and cultural questions. So I was in the Indianapolis Combine last week, and something that happens a lot coming out of the Combine is gossip, right? Gossip, tea, reports, anonymous sources talking about how certain players, high-profile players, perform in these interviews, because this is the function of the Combine. The primary function is not the workouts, although guys can certainly lift their draft stock by crushing it in that regard. No, it's like what happens in these rooms when these teams that are about to make these huge franchise-altering decisions come face-to-face with college kids. So unsurprisingly, the biggest name and source of controversy and reporting was none other than Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders, the son of Deion Sanders. There was a Matthew Berry column where he talked about things he learned at the Combine, and he had a note in there about, first he had a note saying teams really loved Cam Ward, who everyone thinks is going to be the first quarterback taken. Then he had a second note saying two teams told him they did not like Shedeur Sanders. They found him to be unprofessional. I believe that was the word he used. Then a post that kind of went viral from Josina Anderson, who's an NFL reporter, who, I'll just read the beginning of it, says, "I am disappointed to hear that a quarterback's coach from a team drafting in the top 7 referred to Shedeur Sanders as coming off brash and arrogant, made his assessment known to a bunch of people." So she talks, it's a very long post where she alludes to potential biases in the industry. It's a little bit confusing because what she's alluding to wasn't reported, she's criticizing a critique that is anonymous.
There are also other reporters who are reporting, like Todd McShay, again, who's a draft analyst, but he said he heard from two teams that Shedeur Sanders didn't care what they thought of him during the interview process in a way that, quote, wasn't a professional approach. The Athletic apparently has reported that there's a chance that Shedeur Sanders couldn't just fall out of the top 6, but out of the first round entirely. And the critique, Mina, of him is what? Like, how do you summarize the scouting report that emerged because of the week in Indy?
I would say overconfident is kind of how I would characterize it. I think what's being asked is, where is the line between cocky and confident, and how is that line inflected by racial stereotypes and biases in that regards? Sanders in particular being Deion Sanders' son and everything that comes with that.
Generally speaking, I would say that fans and executives prefer humility, even if it is false, to arrogance, even if it is truth. So you just said that Deion Sanders' is son and all that comes with that. And I'd like to explore that for a second, because we're talking about one of the most interesting athletes of my lifetime, a guy who shows up at his last college game in a limousine with a top hat and tuxedo and a grade point average of 0.00 because he hasn't gone to class and is just telling everybody, I'm here for the money, I'm here to change sports, I'm here to be a mercenary, I'm here for my talent to carry me, and I'm here to buck the system and fight against the cultural repressions of football and America. And my son isn't a cornerback. He's a quarterback. And when you say arrogance at the positions, we like it. Not so much at quarterback, not so much at face of a team, voice of a team. You're allowed to be publicly arrogant. Generally speaking, the most popular quarterbacks, Tom Brady among them, you don't get arrogance. You get the questions away from my locker. I'm going to be boring on purpose, but we've got a new breed of quarterback coming into the league. We've got a cultural and generational shift at the position. And I would ask you guys, how do you think the average NFL executive who's meeting with the son of Deion Sanders, whose confidence is earned, who has been in a lifetime of being built by this particular father to play the most important position in the sport, my guess is that he is going to do things his way, and they want to knock that out of you as soon as you get there. You're not in charge, kid. We are.
So part of what I think is interesting about this story is that I do want to isolate what's unique about Shedeur, because we have seen, like Caleb Williams, remember, we talked about this story on the show. His dad was allegedly demanding a share of NFL teams in exchange for agreeing to be drafted. And by the way, when I say agreeing to be drafted, I refer, of course, to the fact that Eli Manning, for instance, the son of a very famous quarterback, said, I'm not going to the Chargers, right? So like we've seen versions of people exerting what feels like leverage. What's actually new here?
So I raised my eyebrows a little bit when Dan used the phrase kind of like his confidence is earned, because I think that is quietly what's driving a lot of this, which is to say, I had a lot of conversations with people in Indianapolis, not about Shedeur's personality, but a lot about his play and you know, comparing notes basically on the tape. And the perceptions there are very mixed.
I wonder under what circumstances you have someone growing up in the home of Deion Sanders as a football player and not being confident when he's gone to the top of the draft, and when Deion just did something that we haven't seen, right? To go from an HBCU to finding yourself with 2 of the top 5 players in the draft and the Heisman Trophy winner. I understand why it is that he would be supremely confident, and it sort of bothers me that the people he's interviewing with would see that as a knock, or turn that overconfidence into something that becomes unprofessional. Maybe he is unprofessional, maybe he is immature, but I want my quarterback to be really confident.
But if the issue there, though, in perception, and I want to get back to the confidence thing, but if the issue in the scouting report is that he's not everything that he is being sold as, what is the comp? What is he? Who is he like?
When we talk about his personality here, I think there is some sensitivity because historically, a lot of the traits, some of the words being thrown about brash, overconfident, have been assigned to black quarterbacks in the past disproportionately. So when you hear that here, you know, immediately I think Spidey sense kind of goes off. What's kind of, I wouldn't say funny, but ironic though, is that who he is as a player is actually the opposite of the quarterbacks that we have assigned, the stereotypes, pardon me, that NFL teams and anonymous scouts have assigned to quarterbacks, black quarterbacks in the past, where they have over-indexed on emphasizing the athleticism at the expense of things like accuracy, football intelligence, processing, all of that. So to actually answer your question, I think Shedeur Sanders is accurate, he is tough, he is very smart. He throws with anticipation. He's a good processor. He throws over the middle of the field. Which is to say he wins with anticipation and accuracy, not with arm strength.
I would say that is arriving at your confidence exactly the opposite way that Deion did. He was better and faster than everyone else. He stacked successes on top of each other, and he had a child who now is able to wily and grit his way to certain successes that then feed that confidence and that belief and make him believe more than anyone else, including the people interviewing him, that he is going to achieve at the next level, that it is his birthright.
To me, it drives home, I just think being the son of like a really famous person is so complicated. And I think it leads to a lot of different outcomes. It maybe could be leading to him performing confidence in a way that maybe, I don't know, I don't want to psychoanalyze or speculate here, but I think it's very difficult. And I mean, the fact that he even got to this point and has continued to be is like hard of a worker and as driven, because again, you know, I probably sounded like I was damning with faint praise, but to stress his football IQ, I mean, this is a kid who on tape, you see him reading coverages post-snap, identifying the leverage defenders. Clearly somebody who has been around football, his whole life, and actually leaned into that from the mental side of it. And that, to me, should be appealing to an NFL team.
I do believe it's possible that the football construct is so different from what the Sanders family construct is, that no matter what situation Shedeur walked into that wasn't just false pretending to be the quarterback voice they wanted them to be, might have been looked upon poorly in any context, because if he's got a smidgen of arrogance, we'll find a way to criticize him. But I assure you they could have criticized him if he had come in as that meek 11-year-old and said, are my teammates going to like me? I don't know how it's going to go. I'm sure they would have probably found a way to criticize that as well as meek and not strong enough.
Being like the perfect quarterback prospect is really, it's walking such a fine line.
I don't even remember anything post-draft. I remember I'm here, I go to practice every day, and, you know, it's a 24-hour rule.
Did that catch you off guard to see that?
What?
Just that report that when that came out?
I just found out since y'all told me. Yeah, I didn't even know about it until you told me.
So you are a little surprised to hear that?
Nah, I don't really, it didn't serve no purpose in my life.
Ravens were planning to select Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round with the 141st overall selection. But when he found out, he got word back to the Ravens that he preferred not to go to a place where he would be competing and backing up Lamar Jackson. He wanted to be in a place that he could play. And so when the Ravens got that message, they pivoted, went a different direction with the 141st overall selection. And 3 picks later, the Cleveland Browns selected Shedeur Sanders, who will be in Baltimore today, where he could have been spending his NFL career if he were willing to back up Lamar Jackson. Preferred not to do that. And so Shedeur Sanders will make that trip to Baltimore today. Could have been a Raven, but he's a Brown, 3rd string on the depth chart.
All we know, teams collectively, meaning owners, had come to the conclusion nobody's going to touch him in the first 4 rounds. All right, now that the round 5 is here, our message has been sent, so y'all could go about the business of sort of lifting the embargo, for lack of a better phraseology.
Leading up to this, prepare me for this moment, through adversity, through everything I went through, just going from high school to Jackson State. Similar, you know, they going from Jackson State to Colorado, they said we couldn't do it, and they counted us out, but we was able to establish our brand of football at Colorado, and it's now. So life is just a circle. It just recycles all the time. But I understand, when it's my time, my opportunity, what I'm gonna do with it.
What's the team getting when they draft Shedeur Sanders?
Team's getting a determined player, somebody that's ready to change the franchise as soon as possible. So that's the goal for me. Sitting here waiting. The main thing is knowing what task I have ahead when I do get picked and maximizing my moment.
Once you do get that call and you know where you're going, how does the mindset change?
I feel like the mindset been that. That's the expectation is to get drafted. We did everything we could in college. Where? I don't know, but we knew it was going to happen since I just started playing.
When it's all said and done, what legacy do you want to leave in the game?
When it's all said and done, I don't know yet. I ain't there yet.
We just waiting, man. We waiting. It is what it is. We just waiting for that call. But God is good. God is in control of everything. So there's no worry. We just waiting for that call. But God is good. God is in control of everything. So there's no worry. There's no fear. There's no trembling. We ain't crying. It ain't no sorrow. Ain't no sadness. It is what it is.
Hey, you heard what they said, Boogie? She said Cleveland. She said this the last player on Cleveland board that they finna get, and then they're gonna try to trade it back into the fifth. No, back into the fourth. No.
Give me a second.
Go ahead. Go.
Give me a second. I'll answer that question. So this is how I feel about this whole thing. One, this is exactly why I am not considered a media member, because I hate when media members goes out and put stories out like this that has absolutely nothing to do with anything. So what? That was something that you should have reported back when the draft happened. I don't know why you bringing it out now. I'm sick of people using Shedeur Sanders names for click. It really is starting to bother me. Dude ain't doing nothing but trying to get better and going to work every day with a smile on his face and doing wonderful things for the community. Stop using that man's name for clickbait. Boom, back to Shedeur.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I have no issue with what Shedeur did is because, to be honest with you, it would have been foreign to him. Why do I say that? He went to Jackson State. They were no good when he got there. He helped make them good. He went to Colorado. They were no good when he got there. He helped make them good. He got to the Cleveland Browns. They're no good when he got here. He's trying to make them good. This is something that he's used to doing. He's never really stepped into a program where it was, oh, this is a really good program. I'm going to sit back and learn. No, he recruited the city of Cleveland because it was something that he was used to. He was used to going to places and making them better. He wants to do the exact same thing with Cleveland. The thing that people are not paying attention to is he's playing the long game. He got the fan base so good and he got the city of Cleveland so good that at some point it's inevitable that he's going to step out on that field, because what he's doing in the community, the way he's ruined, the way he's helped people that was in need, and that the way he spends time talking to kids. Listen, people remember that stuff. It's gonna be it's a huge storm coming that day that Shedeur got to get out on that field, and I think when he does, he's gonna do well. Right now we seen him in the preseason. He had his good game, he had his bad game. Right now he's just sitting back, answering, doing everything the right way, just taking notes and consistently getting better. He's doing it in the quiet. Nobody's really trying to say nothing to him. He ain't really trying to have no headlines in the media. He's just showing up to work every day, trying to get better, because as he continues to say, when his opportunity comes, he want to make sure that he's ready for that opportunity, because he's one of those guys that I think the way he comes off to me is, if you give me that opportunity, I ain't giving it back. Like, if you put me out there, it's done. We ain't looking for no more quarterbacks. I'm gonna be the answer. So I have nothing but high respect for Shedeur and everything he's doing. I respect him not wanting to go be behind Lamar, because it was a guarantee that he would sit behind Lamar. They just paid him. When you look at the situation in Cleveland, people want to play. I'm not coming to the league to sit behind somebody. I don't want to do that. I want to play.
Right,
So,
but the
only reason it looks bad is because right now he's the third string quarterback. That's the only reason this situation looks bad. But when you go back to the thought process of what he was thinking when he made that decision, it totally makes sense. I wouldn't want to go sit by Cleveland had no quarterback. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the place where I'm going to potentially be the starting quarterback. That makes a ton of sense to me. I don't understand how this is even a big story, and I'm really mad at you, Adam Schefter, for tweeting this out. You better than this. You should have said this months ago. It really bothers me that you dropped this on the day of the game. Yeah, it probably got you all the clicks that you was looking for, but as good as you are, you shouldn't even
What does he need
that.
the clicks for?
Yeah, you don't even need that.
What do you? I just want to ask you
this
one
is
thing.
why I'm not a media member. I got to the 5th round, and the quarterbacks on the roster was Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel.
Right.
I'm looking at myself. I'm
play.
better. He's saying I'm better than them.
Let me help you
You're
out.
right. You're right.
They're with the Baltimore Ravens, it's a guarantee. If number 8 is healthy, he's going out there.
You're right.
We'll help you out a little bit. Tyvis, when you was undrafted or you go undrafted.
Oh, I looked at the rosters.
Your agent, though what?
Look at my rosters.
At some point, you would rather, if you're going to get picked in the 7th round, don't take me in the 7th round. I'd rather be a free agent.
I'd rather pick where I'm going.
Because I can pick my spot. So people will use quarterback just different scenarios in which they take characteristics that they like. They like people that's competitors, that are fiery. But then when you say, I want to play over here because I feel like I could go change the game or I feel like I could play, now that's a bad trait. The reality of the situation is, first of all, let's go to the heart of the story. No, I don't believe it. Second of all, they said he had headphones in the meetings. He was in there coaching the coaches. He was doing all this stuff. All of these things came out about him and negative base, right? And let me just get this straight so we can set the page here. The only person who has ever came out and said that I will not play for you, do not draft me,
Eli Manning,
are the Mannings.
No, not just the Manning. I got another
John
one. John
Elway. Elway and the Mannings. But the Mannings are looked at as the royalty. They can do anything they want. They can say anything they are the only people to ever do that. But they use that and say, oh, hold on though, but Deion gonna do it. If it was so bad, why don't you say Eli did it? You're not gonna say that because you know what the game is. They use these little paintbrush and strokes to say, all I didn't see him do is come here and go to the projects and pull up and do something good for people. All of the talk about he gonna tell this and that, he didn't even fight for his own number, right? They said, you gonna wear 2? He said, no, I wear another number. Hey, when he goes up, they say, yo, yesterday, oh, he had a backwards hat on. He went up to the kicker and said, hey, man, it'll be better, man. I know how it is, right? But you talk about this man's backwards hat and glasses. The reality of the situation is Tyvis hit the nail on the head. The Shedeur fan base is a stimulus package. They know that if you're getting a certain amount of views, they add 20-30% to it. These articles, including Diana Rossini's article, I forgot about that last week. It gotta be weird before he plays. No, it doesn't. It don't have to be weird. It just has to be the Cleveland Browns are terrible, and he's gonna get an opportunity to play. But here's the thing: it's all good because in everything that he said, I don't hear nothing from him. I don't hear nothing. He said, yo, I'm gonna sit back and post up and wait for my opportunity behind Joe Flacco and chill out. These are old articles that they didn't run. They're like, listen, I need this throwaway. I know how I get.
As Browns fans, we got to know. Have you been keeping up with Shedeur in Cleveland?
Oh,
what's the best piece of advice you've given him as a dad and as a coach?
Be patient and be ready.
There you go.
Be patient and be ready.
That's all you can do.
I don't want you to, they call your name and you ain't ready. Don't let that, we ain't built like that. Sanders, we ain't built like that. We always ready. We don't have to get ready. Always ready. And I want you to be patient. You don't force none that it may not be time. You know, I drink coffee every morning. That's one thing I do. I don't pull the coffee cup off the darn maker before it's ready. It's got to be prepared, right? And put my ingredients in, I make it right. But I'm like, son, you gotta be ready. You gotta be ready when it's time. But when it's time, you're gonna know. I say, and it's coming up. You know, I got a prediction. I ain't telling nobody. I got a feeling when it's gonna go down. But it's gonna go down this year. It's gonna happen.
All right.
It is. Because this is all over the media. Because I know y'all keep it a buck. That's why I love y'all to life. How in the world they made a big deal out of Philly called us on draft day. They didn't mention that. I just let a cat out of the bag. Philly called us on
Okay, no, it's good. I didn't know that. Yeah, okay.
Who was it? Baltimore. And the Browns.
I heard this, yeah.
And the Browns. They forget.
Yes.
I know I played for Baltimore, so me and Ozzy are cool. So
there you go.
We understood that whole conversation, and he wanted to talk to Shedeur as well as he wanted to talk to me. And I put Shedeur on the phone, and Shedeur, I don't want to say how it went, but how in the world can somebody fault him for saying or thinking, why in the world would I go back up Lamar for 10 more years. Like, who comes in with that mindset?
No, that's not where you want to go. If the goal is to be that guy and you want to be the player and the number quarterback,
and you want to get that opportunity.
Yeah, but where do these guys come from that sit on these platforms and say, "Oh, you should have sat in behind and learned the game and been what they developed"? When have the pros ever developed anybody?
Yeah, it don't happen very often.
By the time you get to the NFL, they expect you to know what you need to do and to do it, or somebody else go get in there and do it. Now, they teach you their playbook, but development and teaching you how to route folks up and you how to block and hold that point, man, please. There ain't nobody taught you that.
You got to figure it out on your own, man.
And I would have learned something from, but it was much better for me in my career to get an opportunity to go and play right away. There ain't no question. And if I wouldn't have changed that for a second, don't matter what I'm going to learn or develop anywhere else.
I've never sat on the bench and said, well, I learned a lot today. Who learns sitting on the bench? Like, who does that?
Yeah, you're going to learn a lot more being out there.
Ain't no backup quarterback in Shedeur. He don't got that bone in his body. You would have went to Baltimore because that's the backup quarterback in you. I think he has a better chance to start a game in Cleveland more so than in Baltimore.
That's not always the best thing.
But that's the best thing for Shedeur.
I don't think
he don't have backup blood. He will not play football. He would stream all his life and make millions. It's not about being a backup in the best situation. I want to start and be the star. Long as they losing games, they gonna keep on trying different guys. Yep. You remember how I was in Tampa? We used to go through quarterbacks like goddamn bags of chips. It's like, hey, that's the problem. I'm done with this flavor. You go to the next one. I'm done with this flavor. Like, bro, Flacco won't stay upright. You know what I'm saying? He getting his tore up already. Once he start on 4, okay, Dylan, let's go. If Gabriel don't go 4-1 or 3-2, it's gonna be Shedeur time.
I'm not worried about right now. I'm worried about longevity. Fit and system is so important for a quarterback more than any other position in all of sports. If you throw a quarterback in before they're ready, you could significantly hurt their development and their confidence. I just wish it was somewhere else. I wish he would go to a different place where he could be developed. Because the biggest thing in all this,
now you become a backup quarterback, and we can name what backup quarterback has been a backup quarterback and became a starter? Romo, go.
I mean,
who else are backup quarterbacks?
It's a bad
example. They just became a starter in the league.
It's a Romo, Rock
Dak Prescott. No. Them guys are drafted to in 3 years he finna be the starter. That's not the situation in Baltimore. You were drafted to be a backup. If I can't start and be the star, then I can do other. I'm already.
I do have one more question. I wanted to ask you because you were playing with the Browns for briefly. You had a chance to be around Shedeur. So I'm just curious, like, what did you learn about him during that time period?
No, he's a great dude, definitely what the media, try to, it's always two different sides of the story or whatever. I don't even know, but like him as a dude, just meeting him, cool cat, he's good. Like, he got his head on right, and then he got a bright future ahead of him, and I just wish nothing but the best.
But he could have scored. But instead he said, look, I'm not going to talk about this. No comment. Let's move on. I don't want to take away from the team. I don't want to be a distraction. I love that. But if it is true, I find it very bizarre. If I'm Shedeur Sanders, I would much rather go to the Baltimore Ravens and back up Lamar Jackson instead of going to the Cleveland Browns after they drafted a guy in the 3rd round already and going on a depth chart that has 5 quarterbacks to a team that's notorious, and I know personally, for not developing quarterbacks the right way. They aren't successful in Cleveland. And I know Shedeur thought of it maybe as a sense of, I want to play right away. Lamar's going to be in Baltimore for a long time. But you go there as a backup, you get in a winning culture, you get developed the right way, you're behind one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and then you go ball out in preseason. Like I know he can. You go ball out when, hey, the Ravens are locked for the #1 seed in the playoffs. You're going to get a game to yourself with great talent around you. You go ball out in that situation, and then you get teams come knocking after 1 or 2 years saying, hey, we need a starter, and Sanders looks great because he didn't get forced right away or he's not being developed the right way that he would be in Cleveland. So I just, if that was the case, I wish he would have went to Baltimore. Now, the other thing, and a different angle on this, again, all speculation. I don't know Shedeur personally, but I wonder if Shedeur, when it got to that point in the draft, just wanted to go undrafted at that point, and he didn't want to go to the Ravens, and that's why he said, don't draft me. And you may look at me like I'm crazy, but hear me out. When you get to that 5th, 6th, 7th round, it's almost better if you're Shedeur Sanders and he has the money and he's a great young man with the NIL and he's smart with his money, to go undrafted, take a step back, and then you control your own destiny and look at this roster and that roster and this roster, and I can sign somewhere as an undrafted free agent, and my agent can negotiate instead of getting buried on a depth chart and going to a bad situation. I really think that played a big part. I'm not saying that guys want to go undrafted. Don't get me wrong. It is a blessing. It's an honor to be drafted in the NFL. Not everybody has that luxury, but for me, I just feel like maybe he said that to say, hey, I don't want to go somewhere 5th, 6th, 7th round because I know I'm not going to go compete right away, or I'm not going to get the opportunities as a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick to get a chance to go start. So let me step back, go look at maybe the Saints. I know it's not a great organization right now, but I can compete there. Kellen Moore's the head coach. Go look at these some of these other teams to where I can go compete maybe in year 1 or 2 that have a veteran quarterback instead of just going to Cleveland and getting buried on a depth chart. So again, I don't know if it's true.
That's what he saw in Cleveland though. He could have told Cleveland the same shit, right? Nah, don't draft me, but he accepted it because that's what he saw in Cleveland.
And if that's the case,
to play.
I just don't like that.
Yeah, so
you would have went to Baltimore because that's the backup quarterback in you. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no backup quarterback in Shedeur. He don't got that bone in his body. So you want to play.
But I mean, I'm not saying he was a 5th round pick, but once you get to the 5th round, I'm not saying from the beginning, but at that point in the 5th round, it's like, all right, no one's drafting me to go be a starter.
Why he didn't say the same thing to Cleveland?
I don't know if they gave him the choice. That's the thing why I say all speculation. I don't know if they told him they're going to draft him.
The next backup quarterback there is Cooper Rush. He a damn good backup. He's already second on the depth chart. You know what I'm saying? He could move a little bit. He could put a Lamar in front.
Why couldn't he come to them and say,
I'm taking Shedeur over Cooper Rush?
But I want to be in the
because
top.
Shedeur has stardom.
He played no football.
He got stardom, starter. That's what's in his blood. That's all he knows. So he wanted to go to a situation where he got a chance to start.
He's not even getting.
I mean, he ain't know it was going to be like that. But you look at him now, right? All right, they start 0-2 right now. Shit, you look at their next 2 games, it's like the Lions and somebody, they probably gonna be 0-4. Then Gabriel will be up. If Gabriel don't go 4-1 or 3-2, who turn is it next? It's gonna be Shedeur time. By week 9, Shedeur is gonna do exactly what he went there for. He's gonna have his 4 games to start. You remember how I was in Tampa? We used to go through quarterbacks like goddamn bags of chips. It's like, hey,
that's the problem.
I'm done with this flavor. You go to the next one. I'm done with this flavor. Like, bro, long as they losing games, they gonna keep on trying different guys.
Yep.
So Flacco won't stay upright. You know what I'm saying? He getting his ass tore up already. Once he start 0-4, okay, Dylan, let's go. Dylan threw a touchdown, showed a little promise. If Dylan don't go 4-1 or 3-2, if Dylan hop in and go 1-4, it's gonna be okay next. Let's see what Shedeur. Our crowd getting fed up with it. We tired of the media. Let's just throw him in there. Fucking.
So you're saying, you think Shedeur has a better chance of success of going in at 2-8 at that point in Cleveland with a bad team than going and sitting for a year or 2, developing in that organization behind Lamar Jackson, and then teams come knocking and saying, "Hey, we want you to come."
I think he has a better chance to start a game in Cleveland more so than in Baltimore.
But that's not always the best thing.
But that's the best thing for Shedeur.
I don't think
he don't have backup blood. He will not play football. He would stream all his
but I'm not saying he
and make millions. It's not about being a backup in the best situation. I want to fucking start and be the star. Simple as that. But if I can't start and be the star, then I can do other shit. I'm already rich.
Fit and system is so important for a quarterback more than any other position in all of sports. If you throw a quarterback in before they're ready, you could significantly hurt their development and their confidence. And as a young player, because I got thrown into Cleveland as a rookie because RG3 got hurt, Josh McCown got hurt. I played decent, but I can't tell you how hard it is to go in the locker room at 0-8 every week saying, you know what, I am a starter in the NFL.
Hey, some guys, confidence in their head, they feel like, hey, shit, when I get my op, I'll be the one who turns the shit around. That's the Shedeur type mentality.
And
I think Shedeur
is what they feel. Tearing down that team of all teams, league MVP, great organization, legendary pedigree. Your pops played there. There's a lot of positive, but if he's believing like what you're believing, he's not going to go to be a backup. He's going to say, I'll take my chances. The reason I believe that was the wrong decision because you're in the 5th round at this point. At this point, if somebody wants me, that's what people understand about the NFL. When a team wants you, what has been the big story of the Cleveland Browns? They don't want him. That's what everybody been saying. They wanted who they took. And now the owner come out, well, that wasn't my pick. I ain't pick him. That was a him thing. That wasn't a me thing. Now you go into an organization where they don't even
want it.
That's what I'm saying. But that's the risk you take when you pass on a team who's calling like, hey, listen, we are going to take you. Now, I'm in the 5th round at this point. And of all places to go is Baltimore. Shoot, let's see what happened. But I fully understand why he said nah, because it's what he's saying. Think about this is the Sanders family. Just look at all of them across the board. Deion ain't like that. Shiloh ain't like that. Shedeur ain't none of them like that. Where they like, no, I'm taking the back seat. They're not a take a back seat type of family. No. He believed he was the best, not just quarterback, player in the draft. I'm the one. I know that they might take Cam Ward, but he was wearing them red and blue cleats because he thinking, okay, well, I'll just go to the Giants. I'm going to be with the Giants. He hanging out with Malik. This is his mindset. So when he gets to the 5th round, his mindset ain't changed. You seen the interview he did. He said, hey, listen, ain't nothing changed with me. None of us expected this, but I'm still me. We're going to get in and we're going to do what we're going to do. That's it. He's not thinking, I'm going to play behind Lamar because Lamar is Lamar. He ain't going nowhere. Look at the Baltimore organization and how they players are. The people who go to Baltimore, all they legends and the history they have, they retire there. So he's thinking, I ain't never going to play here. Right. Even if Lamar get hurt, at some point he coming back. And then I'm right back on the bench. So, you pass up on that. I don't believe passing up on that was the right move, but I fully understand why, and it's because of what you said. I'm not sitting behind nobody because I believe I should have been a 1st round pick anyway, so I'll take my chances. Problem is, it ended up being Cleveland, and that's the risk you take. So I think that the way they went about it, they tried to use 1st overall pick leverage in the 5th round, and that don't work once you get to the 5th round.
All good points. So I get angry when I talk about this, but I'm going to restate my case. I said before the draft, Shedeur should go number 1 overall, and if he ever gets an opportunity anywhere in this league, he will be a star in this league. I'll stake my reputation on that. And what happened to him in this draft was the most shameful development I have ever experienced in the National Football League in all the drafts I've ever covered. So when Adam Schefter did report this, my first thought was exactly your thought about mentality. Even Mel Kiper had him ranked above Cam Ward, and Mel's been doing this longer than I have. And because of that, your mindset, you came from Deion. You were raised around stars and superstars to be a superstar. It's in your bloodline. It's your whole approach. Your mentality is you think, maybe to a fault, that you're the best player in the draft. And to a fault, you expressed that in several pre-draft interviews at the Combine, and it did you in because the NFL won't play that game. They're going to teach you and your father a lesson. We don't do it like this. You can't talk to us like that. You can't be that brazen, that overconfident, that dismissive, that irreverent to us. You can't do that. We're going to show you. And you can't tell me that a whole lot of GMs and scouts were all laughing their asses off as he fell 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round. We taught him a lesson. So when I get to Baltimore, again, it was surprising to me that there was any conversation before the pick because, to your point, there's none required. You can just pick whoever you want to pick. You don't have to get their approval to pick you, right? Right. But because Deion did play there, I'm just assuming this, and I do know Deion very well, but he played there it was at the end of his career, but he and Ozzie are really close. And Ozzie is still overseeing the operation in Baltimore, Ozzie Newsome, the great Ozzie Newsome. So I'm assuming Ozzie let Deion know, hey, we're thinking about this. Would you be cool with it? And both, probably the kid said, because the kid's kind of breaking away from his father now because he wants to be his own man. He doesn't want everybody to think, well, I'm a product of my father, because he's his own man and he's ready to become his own man. So I assume it was Shedeur who said, I want a chance, and I'm not going to have a chance. Because remember, Cooper Rush had already signed in Baltimore. He is. I always called him the best backup quarterback in the league because he can play. He's not Dak. He's not Tom Brady. I'm just saying, if you need 5 games, 4 games, throw him in, and he will not embarrass you.
Right. Yep.
Okay. So he really knows how to play, and so if you put Shedeur third string behind those two, what are the chances? But now that I look at damaged reputation, to the point of, could Baltimore have rehabilitated Shedeur's image around the NFL? Because now you went to a really high quality, tradition-packed organization, play like a Raven. Maybe you sort of rehabilitate your image there, and you learn how to be a pro there. Maybe between Lamar and Cooper Rush, they teach you some things that you're not going to learn in in Cleveland. Okay, now look, here's the key missing piece to this plot. I missed this until yesterday. I'm looking at the depth chart, and wait a second. At the end of August, the Cleveland Browns went out and signed Bailey Zappi. They did. So now all of a sudden Shedeur has fallen to remember they traded what's his name? Kenny Pickett. Yeah, so I thought, you cleared the decks a little bit by getting rid of him. Yeah. But now, remember, Belichick took Brady Zappi fourth round. So Belichick liked him so much that he started him a couple of games and said, I'm not sure I made the right choice with Mac Jones, because he tried to give Bailey Zappi the job, gave him 2 starts his rookie year, and then gave him 6 more starts the next year. And it's like, here's my next Brady, it's Bailey Zappi. Well, Stefanski likes Bailey Zappi because he started a game in Cleveland last year. So they cut him, then they brought him back, and according to ESPN Cleveland, he's getting all the reps that whatever Dylan Gabriel doesn't get in practice, and obviously Flacco.
So what do you think that
this
Cleveland
is terrible?
We saw the preseason game with Shedeur. We're
He's
impressed, right?
there. Yeah.
And so what is Cleveland seeing that we're not seeing to keep
they don't,
bringing him down?
They've dumped him. He's dumpster. He's like.
Who was the emergency quarterback? If Flacco go down, Gabriel go down, who coming in the game? Zappi or Shedeur?
We don't know.
Zappi. It's not even
Zappi
close.
dressed out?
Yeah.
No, I thought
he will. Shedeur is the third. Zappi in the street clothes, right?
Zappy's the scout. He's gonna do the scout team, but the emergency guy is gonna be.
They don't have 4 quarterbacks dressed out. They got 3.
Okay, well, I think Zappi's going to start dressing because Stefanski loves it.
Shedeur dressed out.
I still think it's going to be Shedeur
The
dressed
past 2 weeks, if both of them quarterbacks went down, Zappi wasn't coming in. Shedeur was coming in. You know what I'm saying? So it's got to be some type of rhyme.
He don't need to be the scout team guy. He needs to be over there learning the offense.
Yeah. I'll say this. So all of this is kind of what I'm getting at. That was my original point was I like Shedeur Sanders. I think he's going to be a starter in this league. Just as soon as he was drafted to Cleveland, my first thought was, oh no, that is not where he needs to go. I know he has that starter mentality. He can start in this league, but I just wish he would go somewhere to where he can develop. I'm not worried about right now. I'm worried about longevity. I'm worried about
What about Baker?
A 10-year career.
What did Baker do? Did his career just go to shits when he went to Cleveland, or did he step in?
But they had a better team when Baker was there. They had a better team. They went and got receivers. They had other guys around him. Their offense was better.
It wasn't that much better.
It didn't go all the way.
No, but I'm saying defense is solid right now. Cleveland got a solid defense right now.
No, the defense is
They
great.
got a number 1 receiver right now. And they got the best.
I was there in 20. But listen, to your point, Baker's career is like, you pee and hit the top of the toilet, didn't go all the way in, but it was close.
But it didn't though.
He fucking took him to the playoffs. He shook out, but then what happened after that? Everybody started writing.
That's all Shedeur wants is the opportunity to lead a team to the playoffs. Let me get in the game and show y'all what the fuck I do in the game. You know what I'm saying? I might have came in the meetings wrong. The Sanders might have handled the draft. Fuck all that. When he get in the game, he gonna be Shedeur. I bet you right now in Cleveland building, he's showing them that he really a football nerd. This guy really fucking know football. So he's establishing himself in that building. Man, you put stars on the field, they gonna be stars.
I don't disagree with you at all. I don't, but I just wish it was somewhere else. I wish he would go to a different place where he could be developed. Because the biggest thing in all this,
now you become a backup quarterback, and we can name what backup quarterback has been a backup quarterback and became a starter. Romo, go.
Are you talking about at the same place?
Yeah, they was a backup quarterback, and they became a starter
but I'm not
in the
saying
NFL.
the same place.
Romo, no, it's just period. Romo didn't go. Who else?
I mean,
who else are backup quarterbacks?
It's a bad
and they just became a starter in the league.
It's a
Romo, and who else?
Dak Prescott. Jordan Love,
them
Brock Purdy.
Are you talking about? No. Them guys are drafted. Them guys are drafted to. In 3 years, he finna be the starter. That's not the situation in Baltimore. You were drafted to be a fucking backup.
I'm not saying that, but
you're not drafted to be the starter in 3 years.
Teams nowadays,
in
the fifth round, you not gonna play anyway.
Well, that's a whole another conversation, bro. The fifth round is bullshit, bro. We know damn well.
It don't matter why he went. We're there now. Yeah. Now we're in the fifth round.
It do matter why he went.
No, because at that point,
it do matter why he went, bro.
At that point, he's there. It doesn't matter how he got there.
It don't matter. It do matter. It do matter why he went.
He's there.
It don't matter.
You can't change it. He's in the fifth round.
If you a first pick,
rewind time and go back to the first.
If you a top 3 pick talent and you do some shit like leave, slap a nigga, run a nigga over with a car, you do some shit and you drop to the fifth round. Once I get the cap, I am leave, nigga. I'm still leave.
Hey,
I'm going to be the starter here, man. And I'm not going to go nowhere. Hold on. I'm not going to go nowhere where Deion Sanders and Champ Bailey is there. I don't got a chance to play there. Let me go to fucking Cleveland where I got a chance to play.
You did all that and leave. Guess where you went? In the first round. The first round. That's because you leave.
Because I pulled my pants up.
Fifth.
Because I pulled my pants up, I put a button up, and I fooled the shit out them owners. That's not really me, guys. I'm not keep to I don't do that kind of stuff.
How did you fool?
I buttoned up and I interviewed, bro. That's the only thing he did wrong.
Exactly. They handled it wrong, and now we're in the fifth round. You have to move like a fifth rounder.
It don't matter
where
you
go.
go.
First rounder.
Chris went undrafted. Chris Harris went undrafted because he ran slow. But once he got there, he still was fucking Chris Harris. I'm about to be the starting nickel, and he was.
But
he got to pick where I can go.
The fifth round. Chris didn't get to pick where he went. He was undrafted. You're in the fifth round, and this team is saying, "We want you." So you take the risk of going to Cleveland when you don't go. I understand why he didn't go. But you are in the fifth round and you have not been drafted.
Right.
You cannot act like you are in the first round.
But you are a totally different type of backup in Baltimore than you are in Cleveland.
I fully agree.
This backup in Cleveland, you could be the starter at any time. This backup in Baltimore, you have no fucking chance to start ever until Lamar says I quit.
All I'm saying is why he got to the fifth at this point doesn't matter. We can speculate. We can say why, even if we all agree.
Yeah.
Let's say we all agree the NFL was out to get Shedeur Sanders. Okay.
It was out to prove a point.
Okay, point proven. Now he's in the fifth round. Move as if you're in the fifth round now. Stop moving like you're the first pick.
You're not the first pick. He's moving like he's in the fifth round now. All right, let me go somewhere where the fuck I can start. Where can I go start? Baltimore? No chance. Cleveland? Shit, by week 8, I might could be the starter.
He didn't know he was going to Cleveland. He just passed on Baltimore. You don't know. It's speculation. And that's why I'm saying this is all speculation. But I look, even if he goes to Baltimore, Keeb, I'm not saying that he's not going to be a starter in the league. My issue is that if you go to Baltimore, you're going to get developed the right way. Lamar could be there for 8 more years.
Right.
They're going to, if he goes out and balls in the preseason, like I know he can, and he gets a real shot, unlike he did in Cleveland, he's not out there with a bunch of 3rd and 4th stringers. I know you guys like Cooper Rush. I think Shedeur Sanders is better than Cooper Rush. No disrespect him. His ceiling is a lot higher. Right. And they're going to see that. And if they like him enough, they're going to say, all right, go ball out in the preseason. Go play with the 1s and 2s.
They don't play. So we like you. Come on our team and be another backup.
No,
because he's like Joe Milton, right?
No,
we fucking like you, Joe Milton. Come be our backup.
No.
Come on, bro. Once you accept the backup jacket, you're a fucking backup.
Teams that need a starter are going to look at Shedeur and say, look, no, they're going to see him and say, you're developing the right way. We're going to take you whatever round we need to get a draft pick, or we're going to trade it instead of going and drafting a question mark.
I've never seen that happen.
I know
I see guys get drafted by teams and say, all right, we're going to develop you, and once Favre is gone, we gonna let you start. Look, I mean, once Aaron Rodgers is gone, you gonna be our starter. I've seen teams draft guys and say, hey, we gonna develop you here. Once he gone, you gonna be our starter. But I don't really see guys go be a backup, ball, and then you go somewhere else and now you the start. Like, I don't see that shit happen.
Okay, I got an example. They're not great examples. Brock Osweiler did it. Went to Houston. I know he's better than Osweiler. Jacoby Brissett. I'm not saying he's this, but I'm giving you an example. You're asking how has that happened? They didn't know he was going to be trash. They thought he was good because he was a good backup and developed behind Peyton. Brock Osweiler did it. Jacoby Brissett bounced around and was a starter on multiple teams because he could play when guys were hurt. Another guy, there's multiple guys. Mike Glennon's another guy that left and went to, went to Chicago Now I know they drafted
All
Mitch
those
Trubisky,
guys all those guys were backup quarterbacks.
They were traded for. They gave Brock Osweiler $74 million to go be a starter, 50, whatever it was, to be a starter. If you give Shedeur that opportunity and he develops, he's not going to have a career like those guys.
Like we will
he's going to be better
again.
So, Akeem,
I don't agree.
in Baltimore, one advantage would be if you were the third string, you would become a much more tradable asset as a Raven than as a Brown. So come trade deadline, if somebody got desperate and they said, oh, well, he's been learning from Lamar and Cooper Rush and that organization.
Develop.
Maybe you could land somewhere where somebody wanted
guys
you.
like myself, guys like Gerald, guys like Shedeur, we not trying to be tradable assets. That's not on my mind.
Okay.
So it's never going to be on my mind. I'm never going to want to be a tradable asset. I want to be the fucking starter. Where can I go start? I'll go there.
And what Keith is saying, that's what I'm saying. I fully agree and understand he is a Sanders.
Come on,
forget all that backup. I'm not going to be a backup. All I'm saying is, at that point in the 5th round, you have to understand, regardless of where you go, you probably gonna be the backup.
Right.
You probably gonna be a backup.
He do understand that.
No, I'm saying, but
he understand that.
My only thing is passing up on Baltimore. You take the chance of ending up in Cleveland. That's all I'm saying.
And
when
I
he
hate
passed
that.
up on it now, because you don't know if you're going to Cleveland.
Okay, and
Well, there's too many places that he can go and have an opportunity to start. Probably Cleveland.
I know, but that's what
so
he
Cleveland
passed
probably
up
won't
on.
on his list like shit. Cleveland take me. I'm cool with that.
Okay, you two. You didn't get screwed by the NFL. You went in the first round.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. But if I would have got screwed, I'm not going to where Champ Bailey and Deion Sanders are the damn corners. I'm going to. I don't give a fuck what the situation is. I'm going to look at the depth chart. Me and Bro going look at the depth chart. Shit, you can play there. Hey, I'll go there.
My whole point, you missed my point too. I'm not saying that he would that he didn't want to go to Baltimore, period. I'm saying I wish he would have gone to Baltimore instead of going to Cleveland based on the facts we had.
He didn't know he was going to Cleveland.
I know, but I still think the reason,
don't know where you going.
and I know it sounds crazy, but I still think there was a little part of it. The reason that he said don't draft me to Baltimore was so that he would hope, and he was probably trying to send that message to everybody. Let me go undrafted. I don't need a sympathy pick in the 5th, 6th, 7th round. I know what I'm capable of.
Maybe.
Let me go undrafted. Then I can sit back and say, you know what? Now I control my own destiny. It's not Baltimore. It's not Cleveland. Then you look elsewhere.
But I bet you if the Chargers would have tried to draft him, he would have told them the same shit. Please don't draft me.
No,
please don't draft me. I have
Y'all
no
seen
chance.
the video? Y'all seen the
No,
video?
he said I can do that.
But y'all
I can
seen
be
the
out
video? He was talking to Deion when Deion was like Flacco my age. Remember, he kept saying, "Oh, they got Joe Flacco." So you know the conversation was, but he did not know he was going to Cleveland. All I'm saying is, when you pass up on Baltimore, I don't care if it's the 49ers. When you in the 5th round and you say no, I'm not going there, you just tell everybody no.
Right. Like if the Bills
That's
would have
everybody know. That was my point. That's
just
my
tell
point.
everybody no.
My only conversation with this again is if
I
you
don't
give
think
me
you tell everybody no though.
the lesser of two, I'm going to Baltimore instead of going to Cleveland based on those facts. But I think period.
Baltimore came first. If it was either or, okay, then we can have the conversation. He did not know. He just said, I ain't going there because I know Lamar there.
What teams that
somebody coming there.
He knew what teams where he had an opportunity to play. I got a chance to be the starter, whether it's week 8, 9, 10. I got a chance to be the starter at this, and this team.
So you take the chance of it being ever. But that's why I understand.
He'd rather go somewhere where, all right, I look at this roster, every quarterback on here, I'm better than, send me there.
Man,
100%. I'll go there. I'm better than Dylan, I'm better than Flacco, send me there. I'll beat them boys out. He want to beat them out right now.
I don't disagree, but
he ain't going to bank on the nigga. We going to be there sitting like, Lamar, please get hurt.
So
Lamar, please go down.
What I think happened is he said, I'm passing on Baltimore. And then when Cleveland called, they reevaluated. He said, okay, you got Buddy that he got his own issues. Then you got Flacco. Okay, because people, I don't know what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson, but he got, anyway.
You got Pickett.
Pickett's there. You got Joe Flacco there, and then they got Dylan Gabriel.
Who they drafted ahead.
He's thinking to himself, this is what I think. He's thinking to himself, I already passed up on Baltimore. If I pass up on Cleveland, it's either I got to wait for another team or the draft is going to be at the end. And if he's thinking how I believe his family is, because I know his family, Keith knows his family, that back seat, he thinking, man, first off, I should have been a first round pick anyway. I'm better than all them. I'm going to go there and take their spot. I think that's why he didn't pass up on
He did not have a choice on Cleveland. No, but Cleveland just took him.
Yeah.
I love Deion. I love his son. His son should have been the first overall pick again. I'll say it. But I don't see how Shedeur's going to get any shot in Cleveland this year unless it's something like you experienced where everybody gets hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm knocking on wood for everybody because I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
Yeah.
Remember, I'm going to assume that Deion taped the New Heights podcast at the end of last week. It was dropped on Monday.
Right.
But it had to be taped ahead of Cleveland shocking the Green Bay Packers. So I assume he was talking about the 0-2 Browns. But Deion said, I have a prediction to make. I don't know if he had inside information with that prediction. He does know Jimmy Haslam, the owner, and Shedeur's only hope in Cleveland is that the owner wants some kind of publicity splash at some point in the season, because that's why the owner stepped up and insisted that his coach and GM step back and take Shedeur Sanders, because they had no use for Shedeur Sanders. Trust me, no use. It's why they took Dylan Gabriel 50 slots ahead of Shedeur. 50 slots. They took another rookie quarterback that you watched at Oregon, that I watched a whole lot at Oklahoma. And as I've always said about Dylan Gabriel, I think he's a little better than Tua. They played the same way. He's 5'11", 205-ish, built stocky like Tua, nice arm, accurate, but he ain't Shedeur. Shedeur is very special to me, and if Shedeur were starting right now for the Cleveland Browns, I think they'd be the talk of the league, because here's the issue. They did just beat the Packers because they have the #1 defense in the National Football League. In yards allowed, they are #1. In rush yards allowed, they are #1. And all of a sudden, little Judkins started running the rock the other day. So if you gave Shedeur Judkins in that defense, I guarantee you he would be lighting it up, because he was born and raised to be a starting quarterback in the National Football League. It's in his genes, it's in his bloodline, it's in his psyche. The league wanted to teach him and his father a lesson. That's why he fell to the 5th round. But the problem is, Cleveland has the potential. As I look down the list, I could see him winning 7 or 8 games. Seriously, as I start looking at this, they got Miami at home. They go to New England. They could win those games. They go to the Jets. They could win that game. At Las Vegas, I don't know. I'd give them a shot. Tennessee at home, yeah, definitely. Then at Cincinnati, after what we saw Sunday, I'd give them a shot there. And the 2 Pittsburgh games they're division rival games, so could they beat the Steelers? Yeah, they could. So all of a sudden, Flacco had a nice finish to the game the other day. He leads the NFL in pass attempts, which is he and Dak. They lead in pass attempts. So Stefanski loves Flacco. Stefanski obviously loves Dylan Gabriel. Stefanski loves Bailey Zappi, who he brought back and is on the practice squad, but I think he's really number 3 on the depth chart, because Belichick took him and thought he was the next Brady and started him, 6 games in New England? Yeah. I think he went 4, no, it was 8 games. I think he went 4-4, and then he started 1 game for the Browns last year. Yeah. Well, he's there, and so how is Shedeur going to get a shot unless the owner steps in and just says, stop it? If they fall to, where they're like 2-12 or something, then maybe he'd say, let's just take a shot here and maybe take the stink off us. If they're really struggling, maybe take the onus off, take the blame off, and let's go fresh with Shedeur, almost in a way like Jackson Dart for us. So that's the only way I see it. But if Stefanski stays in charge, it's going to be over his dead body that Shedeur is going to play a real snap this year. That's just me.
I think if Prime said it, you're not coming on the biggest podcast. They like #1, you know what I'm saying?
They are.
With their ratings and shit.
Yeah.
You're not coming on that podcast if you ain't got some intel, you know what I'm saying? So if Prime said it, I think it's going to happen. He got a nice little bug in his ear telling him that this going to happen, you know what I'm saying, under some circumstances. So the Browns did win a game this past weekend, but it damn sure wasn't because of the quarterback play. Flacco threw for about 125 yards.
Until the very end, he did okay.
Yeah, he threw a nice little slant to the tight end.
He did.
Set him up for a field goal.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo. There you go. Hey, there you go, Flacco. Great throw, Flacco.
Yep.
He made one throw all damn day. So, I mean,
Playing a tough defense, though.
he got a good defense. The defense is why they won that game. I mean, it wasn't, y'all was 4 of 13 on third down. That wasn't the reason you won the game. You know what I'm saying? So, I say Flacco, his next 2 games is the Lions and the Vikings. I think they get braced by the Lions. The Vikings struggling at quarterback, but they got a damn good defense.
You know, I'll make a quick prediction. I bet the Lions will have a hard time bouncing back off that emotional win last night, and they'll win the game, but I bet it'll be closer than you think it will be.
Oh, yeah, that's the NFL, though. I mean, the NFL, a close game is 1 or 3 point win. A blowout
is, as you know, it's a long, hard day against that defense.
It is. But I think that offense from the Lions, they ready for a long, hard day. You know what I'm saying? Them good veterans, they ready for a long, hard day. So I think after the Lions game, after the Vikings game, Flacco 1-4. At 1-4, it's time to sit down, Flacco.
Okay.
I think Flacco's done. And Dylan Gabriel comes in. Dylan Gabriel got the Steelers, the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Jets, the Ravens. I think out of them 5 games, he get him 1 win. He take 1. You got to go to.
You think only 1 win out of those?
You got to go to Pittsburgh. You got to go to New England. Them tough places to get wins, period. I don't care what their team look like. If you got to go there and get a win, the crowd play a big part.
You don't play for the Patriots anymore.
I know that, but I spent a lot of time there, and no matter what, who their quarterback is, that's a tough place to play. It's going to be a dogfight if you go in there. So I just see Dylan Gabriel going 1-4 in his 5 games. Now, if you 2-8, the season is over. What do we do now, Skip? We give the city.
Right. Yeah.
At this point, we give the city what they want, right?
Okay.
What the city want? They want
what
Shedeur.
the nation wants. Seriously.
The whole nation.
Yeah.
So my prediction, week 12.
Okay.
Week 12.
Week 12 versus the Raiders. That'll be Shedeur first start. We'll see. That's a good game to put him in. It's not an overpowering team. You know, we 2-8 at this point. You start Shedeur, see what he can do.
Okay,
He's going to come back to Cleveland with a win.
Deion and Shedeur did have dinner with Jimmy Haslam, the owner, before the draft. So maybe they text, maybe he's got a little inside info from the guy who counts.
The guy who matter.
Yeah.
It's Deion Sanders. I promise you, he probably talks to everybody in the league. Like he knows everyone.
Deion not going on no podcast.
Yeah, he's not going to lie about that.
He's going to get his start. He's going to get his op. Bro, he's not gonna do himself like that, man. He know what time it is, man. He know everybody in the league, man. He plugged in. He know what time it is. It's probably some circumstances behind it.
If he knows everything or is talking to people, and he passed up on Philly and Baltimore, right?
Well, he didn't pass up. He let Shedeur make his own decisions, man. I talked to Prime FaceTime.
If he talked to the Browns and he's like, okay, they weren't planning on sitting, and then Shedeur gets listed as QB4.
But he knew at this point.
He knew that?
Yeah, he knew that. At this point, bro, it's free agency time now. It's 5th round. Teams are on my phone. It's free agency time now. Where you want to go, where you feel like you can go, take a job at. You know what I'm saying? And that's the decision. Shedeur made that decision himself. He let Shedeur make his own decisions. You know what I'm saying? Shedeur made that decision. He felt like he can go to Cleveland and earn something there. He didn't feel like he can go to Philly and take Hurt's spot. He didn't feel like he can go to the Ravens and take Lamar's spot. He felt like if I went to Cleveland, before this thing is over with, I got to opt to play. And I think he made a good decision because he will have opt to play.
And I agree with that. That's what makes me feel a little bit better. We talked last week. I said, I would have liked to see him go to Baltimore and develop. I didn't know if the Cleveland decision was on him or he just got picked by them, but the fact that he made that decision, then I feel a little bit better about that. I think we'll see both rookies this year. I do. I agree with Akeem. I think, although they won against Green Bay the other day, the offense didn't look great. If the offense keeps struggling, even if they sneak by on some of these wins, I think it's going to be time for them to see what they have in both Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. I just hope that they give Sanders the same opportunity that they give Gabriel. And to your point, you're saying, okay, Flacco goes out if they're 0-4, 1-4, whatever it is. They throw Gabriel in, he loses a couple games, then they put Shedeur in at 2-8, or even worse, say they get to 2-10. I just worry if they throw him in that situation, the team is already going to be checked out. Right? The season's over. We got nothing to play for. Towards the end of the year, you're dealing with some injuries. They might not be at full strength. I just worry that they throw him in there, and if he struggles, they say, see, look, I told you he's not going to play well, and they use that as an excuse.
and he's not given a fair shot.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing I worry about. But what I do feel good about this, and after I talked about it the other day, you have to remember, Shedeur Sanders is built for this type of situation. I mean, he went to Jackson State and he turned that program around.
Yeah.
He went 23-3 as a starter. Then he went to Colorado. I followed Colorado for a while. That program is historically bad. I mean, they had one winning season in the last 17 years before he got there. They were 1-11 before Coach Prime and Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders got there, and in just 2 years, he led them to a 9-win season. So he knows what it takes, and that was their first year in the Big 12, too. That was a tough conference that year. He knows what it takes to turn an organization around, so I believe that he can handle that type of situation. My biggest worry is that, to your point, is he's not being developed the right way now, being QB3 or QB4, whatever it is, getting some of those scout team reps, but he's not working with the ones, he's not running the offense at all, and then we get to week 14, and everything's going downhill, and they say, all right, Shedeur, here's your chance. Go prove everyone that you can be the guy, and it doesn't work. And Stefanski and the Browns, who maybe didn't want him, say, see, I told you so, and he's not given that fair opportunity. That's my biggest worry in this situation.
I think he does end up playing, and obviously there are a lot of factors to think about here, but historically, I feel like Cleveland has been a team that has normally leaned on their defense. And it kind of creates a lane for a rookie quarterback to go in there and, kind of do his thing. Like, I feel that both, like you guys said, both the young quarterbacks will play, but I think in the end, Shedeur will be the guy. And I just feel like, and kind of what Skip was saying, he's made for this. I think that mentally, and he has a psyche for it. It'll be interesting to see these next stretch of games, like he was saying, to see what that's going to look like, but I do believe that he'll be in there playing. I think he'll do a really good job.
Yeah, so kind of explain to people, people kind of like, oh, he's on camera all the time. It's like, he's been doing this since he was 5.
Yeah, it's normal for him. That's his norm. Like, he's been doing it since he was, like, the Deion family playbook and all those years, man, and he's been groomed the right way, and that's why he's well-spoken. He understands things from a different perspective than most his age. Real sharp kid, probably the sharpest I've been around at that age. And so he been on camera all his life. It's not nothing like he's doing it for attention or just I have to be on camera. And then even then, when I tell people, for one thing, like if you take his own cameras away, no matter what building he steps into, there's still 30, 40 cameras in his face that has nothing to do with him.
Yeah, that make a lot of sense. I mean, he's speaking of, obviously he got down in Cleveland. We seen him obviously go work out, and then we see him go to John Marshall to talk to some kids. What went into those things? Like, is that something he was like, you know what, I want to go talk to kids today? Well, how did that come about?
It came about because his story is he has one thing where he's real passionate about the youth. He's always been that, like, so even coming into it, every city we hit down the pre-draft process, you can see he went to Miami. He showed up to a high school to go speak with some kids, bring them food. He went to Vegas. He was training in Vegas. He did a high school there. In Colorado, he's done many schools in Colorado. We went back before Pro Day, 2 days before Pro Day. He went back to a Northside school in Denver to go, like, so he does it everywhere he go. And then when we got to Cleveland, he was like, man, I want to embrace the city. I want the city to embrace me as well. So, and I always felt like for him is always, I can't really say much about the older crew, but I can always get back to those that's coming behind me. So he's like, man, get there and connect with somebody in the city and figure out, where we need to go first. And then when I started reaching out, I'm connected with, Jarvis Landry and his team as well, who was here in Cleveland. A lot of people who was there before, so I reached out to them, and he just kind of guided me and connected some dots for me, and that's how we ended up at John Marshall.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know it's bad when the President of the United States, Donald Trump, is pushing out tweets about how corrupt it is. I mean, think about that. President Donald Trump is pulling out tweets about how corrupt it is and how these owners look absolutely stupid or ill-advised. But if you're the National Football League, okay, clearly it's not about talent anymore. It's about something else. And I'm going to tell you, I spent a large amount of the last 24 hours thinking about nothing more than I was thinking about collusion. Because how in the hell does 32 teams in the National Football League pass on a quarterback that was universally recognized one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the country entering this draft, and 32 teams passed on him, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 different times they passed on him? How the hell does that happen? 4 rounds. It doesn't happen to a quarterback. We've never seen anything like this before. We've seen guys drop because of injuries. We've seen guys drop because of off-field issues, but we've never seen a quarterback projected to be a top 20 pick, universally recognized one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the draft, projected to be a first rounder, in all likelihood a safe bet of a late first rounder, and drop literally to the 5th round. We haven't seen anything like that. And when you're talking about the owners, I'm going to keep in mind, and I tweeted about this, seems very Kaepernick-like, as in Colin Kaepernick. Shedeur Sanders with the watch. Shedeur Sanders with his bravado. Shedeur Sanders with this supposed arrogance or whatever. He's still bald. He still threw for over 4,100 yards. Still threw for 37 touchdowns. Still threw for just 10 interceptions. Still proved himself to be one of the better quarterbacks in football. Tremendous paws, pocket presence, accuracy, throwing the damn football. Didn't have great wheels. Doesn't have great athleticism, but the brother can play. And why do I bring up Kaepernick? Because I keep reminding everybody that the owners, I'll never forget this as long as I live. The owners in the National Football League are very big on control. And Colin Kaepernick's position really railed them. It really riled them up, irritated them, because even though they received a check for over $246 million a piece because of their TV rights deal, they were mad it wasn't $250 to $255. They blamed Colin Kaepernick. They said he compromised their bottom line. That's what they said. They got a check for $246 million a piece and were still complaining about the $5 million they missed out on because of him. In their estimation, no proof of that, just speculating that was Colin Kaepernick. So if these are who they are, if these are the kind of people that they are, this is where Deion Sanders' hands get a little bit dirty. Because we know he's the greatest cornerback that ever lived. We know he's arguably the greatest athlete we've ever seen. We know that the man is a football savant. We also know that he's box office. The camera, the lens, it gravitates to him. He has that kind of magnetic effect. And because he let you know that he believed in his son, because he let you know what his son could do, because he let you know that he damn sure was going to keep an eye on things and he was going to have a voice in the proceedings, because he alluded to, if I don't like where my son is, that's not where we're going and stuff like that. It's entirely plausible that the owners were like, who the hell do you think he is? You don't run this shop, we do. Because these owners are like that. But ultimately, we got to get to Shedeur Sanders himself. Because I spoke to some executives, giving me some background, because they didn't like some of the things that they were seeing. And when they talked about it, they said stuff like him sending out tweets tagged with #legendary. They talked about him appearing to have more of an interest in his own brand, and that he thinks about that more than he thinks about the team or the league. They talked about if he was more buttoned up and all about ball and team as opposed to himself, he would have fallen no later than number 21 in the draft to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Instead, he fell to 144, and they call it a minimum of a $30 million mistake. That's what they said. They also pointed out how it was the perfect year to come out in the quarterback class because it's the lightest, weakest quarterback class in a long time. So a late 1 pick could easily turn into a top 10 because of position and need. But that didn't happen with him because of his bravado, his brand, his swagger, etc.
You know, the thing, when he was coming out, it seemed to me like he was recruiting Cleveland a lot. You know, it was from, I played with Cleveland on Madden. He had Travis Bazana, you know, Instagram posting and all these things. Yeah. What was it about the city of Cleveland or the Cleveland Browns organization that he really liked that made him want to ultimately become a Brown?
Shedeur and Coach Prime both fell in love with Mr. Bear.
Yeah.
They built a great relationship because at first they didn't know much about it. Shedeur didn't much, but as they got later in the process, their relationship and the way that the conversations they were having with Barry made them feel a lot better. Like, oh man, that's maybe where we need to be. So, and as they continue to grow and talks continue to heat up, and you got close to the draft, it kind of started pointing to like, man, we were going to end up in Cleveland. Didn't think it was going to be 5th round.
Yeah.
But they felt like it was an opportunity, and even the week before the draft, I thought it was going to end up being Travis and Shedeur in Cleveland, honestly. Like, that's where the arrows were pointing.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Man.
We want that.
Go there. I'm just getting over that. Look, come on, man.
And Mason Grant's probably going to be a good player.
Shout out to man.
As the Cavs are down 12 players tonight, and Travis is in Jacksonville.
But we were on live during the draft. And when the Browns traded down out of that spot, we were pretty heartbroken.
We were hurt. I had celebrations ready.
Yeah.
I had whole marketing schemes ready to go, and they said they traded the pick. I said, for what? What they get? But I will say, what they get? Who you trading for? I'm like, this is wild. But I will say this: when they came back, Andrew Berry. They came back in the 5th round, and when they took Shedeur Sanders, it was like, all right, y'all might not be half crazy. This actually makes some sense when you look at it and how Shedeur is as an individual. How do you not get mad when you be like, bro, all your cats passed on me 7, 8, 9 times?
Right.
Like, how was he in that moment? Was it something where you like, yeah, I know you kind of salty about it, or do you ever show that?
Never wavered. We was at his house, for 3 days after I left Green Bay with Trav the first night. I flew immediately back to Jacksonville the next morning with Trav, and I left as soon as he did his press conference straight to Dallas. And then I was there for day 2, and then as I was watching it unfold, and it was you could see the energy and like people getting worried, everybody around worried, and him, he's smiling.
They was worried?
Oh, people around, like everybody was like, what's going on? Like you could hear chatter. And not once did he flinch. It was always, man, keep DJ, play the music. What you doing? Hey, cameraman, what you doing, man? Go capture this. You don't know the call might come in a minute. Put this out. He's orchestrating everything and keeping himself going. Same quarterback poise he's always had since he was young. So I'm watching, like it says, I'm just trying to size him up just to see. I want to see if he gonna fold, if he gonna give it. Like day 2 go by, nothing. Everybody just sitting there like, what the? And he just, what y'all tripping on? We got tomorrow. And then we're like, well, tomorrow, I'm not feeling good about tomorrow right now.
I'm going to ask this too. For those who say that he has to be humbled in order for him to play at his best, right? They say it's a great position because he got drafted in the 5th round. It humbled him, showed him that like he's not in charge of everything. Like, is that something that has ever been that has been crossed, or you guys ever conversated on about the fact that people think that he needed to be knocked down a little bit in order to get the best out of Shedeur?
Yeah, we've had them conversations, and he just always said, man, people are entitled to their own opinion. That's his thing. People are entitled to feel how they feel. But for me, and speaking for him, he said, but for me, I don't need that to go out and do what I know I'm born to do. Because for him, and I always tell people this also, be careful what you ask for when you're dealing with a guy like that. Because when you got certain guys that operate a certain way, you don't want to take certain things from them that makes them special. And for him, it's a certain level. It's like, don't take a Bugatti and turn it into a Honda. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to drive the same. Let him be who he is and what he's done, because that's what he's found success in. And that's for all the load that he's been able to carry for whatever it is that he creates in his mind that's allowed him to channel and take all of that and still be able to go execute. It's something behind that. And I always say, like, so be careful when you ask, like, I want to humble him. Because you might not get the same thing that you've known to get from him,
Well, obviously his drop in the draft was the biggest story. The draft got talked about more than anything else. And of course you've heard all the reports and what people have said, and maybe some of the interviews didn't go well. We all make mistakes along the way. I don't know if he made any mistakes. I don't know if anybody in his camp made any mistakes. Do you feel like, even without getting into specifics, do you think there were things along the way that you're like, wow, maybe if we had done this differently, or it is what it is, it was going to happen this way anyway?
At dinner 2 nights ago, he sat at the table, and he said, man, if I could go back and do it all over again, I wouldn't change a thing. And he said, because the reason being because I feel like I am where I know I should have been in the beginning. Maybe I didn't get here how I thought I would get here, but I'm where I belong. And he said, so I still got here. And at the end of the day, I'm not tripping on no money. He's like, man, I done made north of $24 million since January, before the draft. Yeah. He like, so money wasn't an issue.
Right.
It was just, I just need the opportunity to be able to go compete. So for him, it was more so understanding that side of it, and he just never, he never wavered about none of that, man, and how he got here, or he never questioned it, never pointed the finger at anyone. It's just who he is.
Have the Browns told him? I spoke to Joe Flacco last week, and he said that the Browns told him that this is an open competition. You got 4 guys. Let's see how it goes. Have the Browns said the same thing to Shedeur?
They have said that.
Yeah.
But just knowing what we've known and been around it, I just always tell them prepare for the worst. Prepare, going you might get less reps than everybody, so all your reps might have to count. You might be, with the, guys, the undrafted guys or the whoever, and you got to make it work.
Yeah. So
going in with that mindset and understanding that, he look at it different. Even though they say, he's gonna have open opportunity, we don't know.
Sure.
We can't depend on that.
Yeah. I think that's a good attitude to have.
Yeah.
Seems like it makes a lot of sense. Go ahead, Mike.
Boogie, I'm curious, when you have been here now for a week or so, how is the reaction to you guys being here in person compared to what you see online? Because I feel like there's a pretty big gap in reality versus Twitter.
Man, the hate only operates online, man. It's online. Everywhere from day one since we stepped foot in this city, it's been so much love in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about from day one. Shedeur, can I get a picture? He sit there, he'll take 30, 40 pictures at a time everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
Whether he's leaving out of dinner, whether it's, finishing up a workout, or he's going in to go get treatment. And everywhere it's been nothing but being embraced. Yesterday we were at lunch, 2 ladies from ESPN, sent over a table full of entrees and sides and desserts. We couldn't even eat it all. They sent so much stuff, and then we got the ticket at the end, the check at the end, ready to pay, and the guy said, man, we just got a call from someone, and they said, man, it's covered. I was like, all right. I was like, everywhere he's been has been nothing but love. Like, that's what he coming for. He want nothing but love in the city. The hate only resides online, if you ask me.
For the most part, yeah.
I'll say this. I was doing the shows when he got picked up, and I have, we done been through Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield got a cult following, Johnny Manziel. Johnny football was crazy when he got picked. Johnny was crazy. It was nothing, right? But I'm gonna tell you what. Like, I ain't never got approached by so many people online that was just like, "Hey, look, I just saw your little blog. I'm new here. I'm here because Shedeur here." I'm like, what? What you mean? Wow. They like, yeah, I'm subscribing just because Shedeur pulling up. I said, wow. They say I've been watching him since he was about 15 years old. So yeah, I'm a Browns fan. I have never seen that out of anybody that come here. And I was telling people like how different it is, because they was like, I'm like, these people don't even watch sports. They be like, yeah, this is my, I'm Shedeur's auntie. Like, this is, I'm like, bro, this different, bro. This yeah, I'm like, bro, they do not take no slander online. Like, I'm telling you what, listen, the dude got crazy. It's almost a beehive, is it not?
The CU arts? Oh, they don't play.
I thought I didn't know about it. I didn't know about it until they pulled up, and it was crazy. By the way, tell him, and I'm gonna just put this out here. Tell him under no circumstances should he stop doing the debt. This gotta stay. That under no circumstances is that going anywhere. I don't care what y'all talk about. The rolling shall shine. The first time he do that, Tyvus said, "Oh, they gonna go crazy."
Man,
they gonna go crazy.
They gonna have they gonna cut out the figures of an arm in the stands, and they just gonna keep putting it up every time. You're gonna see a wrist up in the stands.
It's crazy that y'all say that, because that was one of the conversations he had where he's like, man, you think I should do away with it?
No, do not lose his swag.
Don't lose that field swag. And if they not want to tell them, if they got, I ain't got a problem. I'm a celebration guy. Listen, if they got a problem with it, we got you. Don't even worry about it, dog. We got you. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think it's cool though that I think it is good that he's asking you the question, right? Like the fact that he's open-minded to hey, should I do this differently? Should I think about this differently? I think that's good. Yeah, I agree with you guys.
Don't lose his swag.
This is who he is.
That's it.
Be who you are. That's great. But the fact that he was open to asking questions and being open-minded to maybe I should change something, I think is good.
Like, he's not, I'm telling you, he's totally different what most people online perceive of him. Trust me. Like, I even seen Coach Thomas said earlier, like, how great his interview was with him when he visited, and how it was totally different from some of the reports that we get from other places.
For resources, you tap for resources the most?
My dad.
What was his advice on today on Pittsburgh?
I haven't talked to him yet.
No?
I'm slowly fading away from.
How's that going? The fade from dad, is that easy for you?
For me, yeah, he's cool. When a guy like Coach Tomlin is there, he's cool.
I wonder if you've already had the toughest coach of your life. Like, is there any way Tomlin?
I have.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, Tomlin can be pretty tough, but you think like your dad has really like, Coach Prime's got you. He got you where you need to go. He's the toughest.
The main person.
Who do you like?
The normal I've known his father for a long time. My first time meeting him, and to be quite honest with you, we didn't talk a whole lot about my relationship with his father. It was a normal pre-draft visit to spend time with a young man, to talk ball, to get to know him as an individual, to get to see how he processes and sees the game and how he articulates his football experience. From that standpoint, it was a very normal visit and a very productive one.
Did anything stand out in that meeting about him that maybe you didn't see coming or didn't know?
I think the things that stood out were evident in his video. There's a toughness there that doesn't get talked about enough. There's a competitive spirit there that doesn't get talked about enough. I know he's very talented and made a lot of plays for his university and his team. I've obviously known his father for a long
story that made headlines all over, all the sports networks overnight, and then some. And that was the NFL draft and the precipitous slide of quarterback Shedeur Sanders, son of primetime Deion Sanders, who many considered the second best quarterback in January. Sanders was just picked by the Cleveland Browns as the 144th selection of the 5th round overall. Shedeur wasn't drafted in round 1 on Thursday. He wasn't drafted on Friday during rounds 2 and 3, and teams passed on him again earlier this afternoon in round 4.
He ended up here. He's going to have an opportunity, hopefully.
Got the #1 selling jersey.
We're certainly all rooting for him. We want to see him succeed. The Browns haven't had good quarterback play in a long time. Maybe it takes this wild story to finally end this drought of bad quarterback play in Cleveland. We hope so.
Hey, listen, man. If he play well, the thing about the city is, if he go out and play well, the city gonna love him. They don't care. They're gonna get behind him. They're gonna be, he gonna go to schools. It's gonna be crazy. We've been looking for somebody to take over this mantle. We still searching, but at the end of the day, we glad to have him in the city. And by the way, Shedeur, you can pull up too. Don't stop playing around. Come on over here. Come on over here. We bring you to the court.
Let me know when you coming so I can get my fossil. I ain't got no rollies, so I'm gonna put my fossil that day.
Because he said you sent your guy over here shining.
I already seen him bump in the face. I wasn't even gonna get into that.
23 years, 7-time Super Bowl champ Tom Brady is now joining us.
But you're right, there's just not a lot. There's a lot more, I would say, physical development happening at a younger age, but less, I would say, mental, emotional development from quarterbacks. And I had a chance to talk to Andy Reid about that, had a chance to talk to Patrick Mahomes about that this week. They said, look, Patrick flat out said, I can't thank Alex Smith enough for everything that he did for me. All I did was ask him questions in the meeting room my first year. And I look at my first year, that's all I did with Drew Bledsoe. Aaron Rodgers had 3 years to sit behind Brett Favre. Eli Manning sat behind Kurt Warner. There's a lot of guys, and I would say a lot of successful players that weren't kind of thrown into the fire, because what happens is you can lose your confidence so fast, because when when the real games are happening, the blitzes are coming, and you don't understand protection, and you don't understand coverage, and you start taking hits, and you start throwing interceptions, you begin to lose confidence that, hey, I don't even know how to play football. I don't know how to go down and lead our team to score points. I can't even make and complete a pass. So if you're sitting in a meeting room and learning, I actually think that's the best way to learn, because you can understand it on the board. You can understand it on the video screen. You can go out to a walkthrough, and then you can learn and practice by making a lot of, good decisions, bad decisions, without necessarily being critiqued from the outside world and losing. Look, you got PFF grading you every week, like you were just referencing there before I came on. They're grading you, and now you go as a first-year quarterback, you barely know. And now everyone's telling you suck, and it takes a while to regain your confidence. You lose your whole fan base, and it's really unfortunate. But that's very much the state of the league. And I think we've dumbed down the game in so many ways to allow for a lesser caliber developed player to get in there and lead an organization. Yeah, but I would argue this. You're assuming that everybody knows how to develop a quarterback. You're assuming that you're going into a program. I mean, I'm telling you, this is not. There's a lot of people who have no idea what they're doing when they're tasked with coaching a quarterback or calling an offense. So are you saying, just like we'd rank quarterbacks 1 to 32, do you rank offensive coordinators 1 to 32? Do you rank quarterback coaches 1 to 32? Well, what if you have the 32nd ranked coordinator in someone's mind, or the 32nd ranked quarterback coach? How is he getting a level of development that the guy who's first is getting? When I got to the Patriots, I sat behind Drew, who was a franchise quarterback, right? In my second year, it's training camp, and we had a very good quarterback coach named Dick Rabine, and God rest his soul. Unfortunately, he passed away in training camp and of a heart attack. And it was a very difficult loss for our team. And the way that we found a way to continue on that season is Bill Belichick became more of a quarterback coach than we ever imagined him being a quarterback coach. He was obviously a head coach, very involved in defensive game planning, but he decided to come in every week and talk to the quarterbacks about coverage. All right, guys. And he would do these big write-ups, and I still have them all because I kept everything. Tom, this is cover 1. This is how they play it. This is who's responsible for who. Okay, if we line up in a bunch formation, this is how they're going to handle the bunch formation. This is why they do that. This is the weakness of that, why they do that. You shouldn't do this if this is how they cover this. Okay, this is cover 2. This is how they cover. They play 2 variations of cover 2. When they're in this variation, this is what they're trying to stop. When they're in this variation, this is what they're trying to stop. Okay, this is cover 4. This is how this team uniquely plays cover 4. We shouldn't line up in this formation to try to run this concept. For 1 year, for actually more years beyond that, that's how I developed and learned, defense calls a certain play. This is how we can put them in this formation, and they can back the coverage off, and I'll have a short throw underneath. Oh, great. I love that. Let's do that. Nobody's getting that type of development. So I learned from an offensive standpoint watching Drew and having very good offensive coaches. Then I had a defensive coach, the best one of all time, teach me how to read defenses. Then I would go out and meet with player personnel people, who are very talented. Okay, we'd go through the entire defensive lineup. Okay, these are all the things that this defense does. This is what this player does well. This player does well. This player does well. That's development. You're giving people knowledge and information that you could take to the field so that you could play with confidence and anticipation, and that would free you up to play a very aggressive style of football. So I'm saying, what if you're a quarterback and you go to a system and they don't teach you coverage? They don't teach you cover 1. They don't teach you cover 2. They don't teach you cover 4. They don't have personnel meetings. They give you an offensive game plan and they go, all right, buddy, here you go. Figure it out. And after Thanksgiving of your second year, they're going, man, this guy just can't play anymore. He stinks. He can't read coverage. It's like, dude, what did you teach him anything? Did you groom him? Did you spend time after practice? Did you work on the physical parts of his game? Did you work on his throwing mechanics? Did you work on his drops? Did you work on the mental parts of the game? Did you understand how to help him study film better? So all these aspects, physical part about football, the physical part is one aspect. I was 199th pick in the draft because so many people were focused on a physical skill. Tom Brady, too weak, couldn't stand in the pocket. You know, if he gets hit, he's going to go down. You know, lacks a really strong arm. That was kind of. But what I really understood, the mental emotional part, I could bring a consistent competitive winning attitude to the game every day, or to practice and the games every single week. Mentally, I could absorb information. You could give me, just like Belichick did, pages of notes, and I could process those things and then take them to the field and play with the anticipation. So what I lacked for maybe in a bit of physical development, I far exceeded a lot of other people in mental emotional development. And that's a hard thing to evaluate, but I'd also say there's not many people who even know what to do. You know, It's not like they're CEOs of businesses. A lot of times they're football coaches, with all due respect. They're not running large corporations.
Right.
You know, as Bill Parcells said, you know, they're PE coaches a lot of times. They get elevated to, you know, coaching positions. Yeah, there's poise and composure in big moments that I do think separates kind of elite performers. And I would say it's probably a high sense of self-confidence in big situations. You see that with Patrick Mahomes. I think he's probably one of my favorite ones in the NFL, right? For a lot of reasons, but you see his face in big moments and it just doesn't seem, it's a big moment for everybody else except him. And the difference is he actually looks more focused and more urgent and more ready to go. And, you know, he's just so laser focused. And there's some guys that play like that. And there's others that look a little bit frenetic. I mean, Tiger Woods look like that in golf. The bigger the moment, you know, the more determined he looked. That's probably the right word.
Yeah.
And there's certain people who have, I would say, no fear of failure. And that frees you up to go out and be your best, because people that fear failure, well, then that means they're trying to control it. Yeah. And when you feel that lack of control or lack of confidence, well, people can see it on your face. A lot of times you could see it in the eyes of the quarterbacks. I'm always looking for, okay, that's great. What's the next step in development? And then the next step and the next step and the next step. And, you know, from the time that you start to the time you finish, there needs to be an upward trajectory every single year based on all the things that you experience. And so a lot of things that happen physically, mentally, emotionally over the course of a career, life, on the field, off the field, that you need to be able to grow with as you get a little bit older and you continue to develop.